Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. How are you? It is Friday. It's 1:22, 7 minutes late as per. I hope you guys are not too insulted by my timekeeping, and I hope you'll do the honours either way of smashing the granny out of the like button, smashing the subscribe button, like you know what is good for all of us. Notification button should be squeezed, comments should be dropped. Access should be given to the various podcast platforms, Spotify, where you can watch us back, Apple Pods, where you can listen, Amazon, all that stuff. The links will be in the description. They'll also be flowing down through Stream Elements at some point on the show. So please give us a follow, a rating, and a review over there. We are also sponsored by OK Jersey, where you can get 8% off at checkout using code Sean. You know where to go. Check out their international clubber. They've got all the best stuff that you would want for the World Cup. And of course, today, guys, I am joined by the wonderful Kate and the wonderful Jimbo from the appropriately named YouTube channel, Kate and Jimbo.
I know. We was really inventive with that, weren't we? I was thinking about it the other day, but at least it's easy. But we're the reason.
If it wasn't easy, when you watch your intro video, you're never going to forget Kate and Jimbo, Kate and Jimbo, Kate and Jimbo, Kate and Jimbo.
I have to say, everyone, we're the reason, or I'm the reason that Sean's late today, because I made him go for a repertoire of impressions before the show started, so it's my fault.
Yeah, we did a little bit of Sunny. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to drop the Sunny on this channel just yet. I think Football Link is more like, if that one gets cancelled, it's not quite as painful.
Yeah, I hear you.
How are you, Kate? How are you, Jimbo? How you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, good to be on. It's been a while. I think it's the first time you've been on, Jimbo, isn't it?
It is, yeah, my first time.
Is it?
I have been invited before, but couldn't make it for whatever reason.
You're in the group chat though, right? There's always the link in the group chat.
I just don't talk a lot in there.
Oh yeah, well, that's a lot of people, you know. There's a few people that talk all the time, and a few people that don't talk ever, you know.
Yeah.
I read a lot, but don't talk a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of banter going on back and forth in there. Anyway, guys, listen, we've got I think Lubo's also joining us at some point in time. So has there just been a raid come over this way? Big up to, if there has been a raid, there he has. Big up to you, Sava. Thank you very much for the raid, my man. Appreciate you. Hope your show, what was it? Squad selector. Hope it was
good. It was good. I was enjoying it, but I did turn over to watch Sean on Football Inc. Sorry, Sava, but I just can't resist the impressions.
Absolutely fantastic decision, Kate. Absolutely terrific, you know. Listen, no, apologies, Sam. I didn't want to go at the same time, but Johnny's going on holiday today, so we had to squeeze it all in a weird order. Let me ask you guys this. Right, let's start with the well, we've got lots to talk about. We've got we've got the news to talk about regarding Pochettino, Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, American people coming out saying there's a not small chance that that Pochettino, if offered, and if Tottenham paid the compensation, we'll come to that in a minute, right? We'll come to that in a minute, that he might end up coming back. I don't believe it for a second. There's also the news out this morning that Igor Tudor will in fact leave the club by mutual consent. That's been dropped by Football Insider. I don't know if they're just assuming things or if they know anything. Where are you guys at with the Igor Tudor thing, Kate? I'll start with you. Where do you, have you bought into him? Did you ever think he was the right guy? Did you give him a breather? Did you give him a second chance after the Liverpool game? Where were you at and where are you at now?
I never particularly wanted him because I'd never really heard of him, if I'm honest, as a manager. So I was a bit sceptical at first. Then after the Liverpool game, I did the thing that, you know, we're not supposed to do as football fans. And I let my feelings take over and thought, actually, I quite like this guy. Maybe, just maybe, he's getting something out of these players. And then Nottingham Forest happened, and it was proof that no, that may have been a bit of a false dawn. So I think, as awful as it is, and God bless him for his loss, I think it came at the perfect time in a way in Tottenham's world, because it gave a chance for it to be in mutual consent. You go your way, we go our way. But I just kind of have the feeling that it's too late. The damage is already done. So as far as him going, I think it's the right thing, but I just don't know whether it's too late for someone to come in and sort of affect the outcome of the season. That's where I'm at.
It's too late regardless.
I kind of feel like that, Shawnee. I'm with Jimbo. Jimbo's been saying it longer than me.
Do you just call him Jimbo?
No, Jimbo.
Gimbo.
Hang on a second. Guys in the chat, just rewind 10 seconds and tell me if Kate said, I'm with Gimbo, and then she said Jimbo second time round before I challenged her. Did she say Gimbo or did she say Jimbo? Is this a nickname, Jimbo? Do you get called Gimbo in the bedroom or something?
No, she calls me Gimp a lot.
Gimbo.
I definitely heard Gimbo, and there's no way you say Gim if you mean Jim. That's a nickname. We all heard it. We all heard the Gimbo.
You know what? If I did say that, sorry.
That is sensational. We all heard it. We definitely heard it. So sorry. Yeah. Anyway,
Gimbo has been saying a lot longer than me that he's kind of resigned himself to being in the Championship, and that's where I'm at now. I kind of, linking away ole, because, that's around the corner from us. So, and anything else, if anything else happens and we don't go down, then it's a bonus. That's where I'm at.
But is there any point then? Jimbo, let me bring you in. Before we get into the next question then, Kate's already just sort of told me your stance, but you think we're going down. Is there no chance that a Hail Mary can be thrown here? And if so, what does that Hail Mary look like?
Thing is, Sean, it needs to be someone, right, who can really get a rocket up their asses and motivate them and get some more out of them. The way I watch this team, right, and I don't see nothing. I don't see no want to stay up. I don't see no fight. I don't see any gumption in them. I don't think half of them are good enough. I think with some of them, it's not that they're not putting effort into it. I just don't think they're good enough. The end product, look, let me pick one player out, for instance, right? Solanke. He's meant to be our lead striker, him and Richie, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me what Solanke's done the last few games. He might have not been on the pitch.
Yeah, I think he's being asked to play in a different position, though. He's being asked to play in a full.
Look, it needs somebody. We can stay up, right? I don't think we will stay up for 1 minute, right? But we can stay up. But it's going to have to be someone to come in and really, really motivate them and just get that extra 20% out of them. 10% won't be enough. You need to get 20-30% more out of them. But I can't. Poch maybe if they brought Poch in. I honestly think the only person, right, that could get these going is Ange Postecoglou, because he knows them. Let me finish, Kate. He knows them. They know him, right? And what's his name? VDV said in his interview that he was talking to them and was going to be a bit more pragmatic with his football, not be so gung-ho. So maybe he could get that extra bit out of them because they know each other so well. But I just can't see who's going to come in and do it. Who?
Listen, mate, I heard my name there, mate. I heard my name, I got to be honest. I don't know if I want to come back. I don't know if I'll be welcome back at Tottenham there, Jimbo. After what I said in the overlap interview, I basically took no accountability at all. And I appreciate your vote of support, mate. But I know the guy from Spurs Talk Show, that's Sean Butler, that fucking idiot. He thinks I'm an absolute clown, and he's entirely wrong. But yeah, I don't really see myself being able to come back in after I essentially took 7 million quid out of the club and then said the club's a fucking mess, Yeah. So not sure about that one, mate. Not sure about that one. Do you actually believe that? Do you, Jimbo? You think Ange will be the guy?
I think the only reason that I'm saying that I don't want Ange back, right? But what I'm saying is I think because he knows them so well and they know him so well, right? I see people in the chat saying the guy lost 22 games. Yeah, he did lose 22 games, but he also won the first 10 games and got us into fifth the first season, right? So I'm just wondering if he could come in because they know each other so well and get that little bit more out of them. That's all I'm thinking, Sean. I don't know what else to think. What they're talking about, bringing people in like Harry Redknapp, who's not been in the game for 20 years. they're talking about what's the other one? The one with a big gob,
Sherwood.
Sherwood. Right, talking about him. What is he going to keep us up? Seriously?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Tim Sherwood for me is the biggest donut. Like, I'll go as far as to call him a dickhead. I think the guy's an absolute. I think the guy's an absolute clown, and I don't understand why anyone would want him. This argument of like, because he put his name forward, and all of a sudden it's settled science among some people. You know, I know Lubo. I love Lubo to pieces. He shit himself, by the way. He's supposed to be on. He begs to get the invite last night after Spurs 5. He goes, Sean, are you streaming tomorrow? I said, I am on with Kate and Jimbo. He said, oh, can I come on? And I was like, I don't think it matters whether I say yes or no, Lubo. You're gonna backdoor in anyway, mate. And he doesn't turn up. He doesn't turn up now, you know. But Lubo's a guy who's settled sciencing on if we're going to throw a Hail Mary, the Hail Mary has to look like it's come from a Tottenham base, right? It has to be someone that knows and understands the football club. Knowing and understanding the football club to me right now is irrelevant because all of the players that are here don't know or understand this football club.
Correct.
Yeah.
And most of the players that are here don't have a clue who Tim Sherwood is. They won't know who Harry Redknapp is. Like, Harry Redknapp last managed a game, was it 9-10 years ago?
Yeah.
I thought longer.
Lucas Berghvall was 8 or 9 years old.
They know Harry from I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out There. That's probably where they're known from.
Yeah, that's it. I respect you because you won 10 stars and ate a kangaroo's bollock. You know, that's why. That's why I respect you, Harry, because you made sure that the camp mates didn't go hungry that night. What are we doing here? You know, what are we doing here? Honestly, I don't know why this Tottenham understanding Tottenham is important when all you really need is to motivate the 15 or 20 fit players, of whom none of them clearly understand what Tottenham is. No one will know who Tim Sherwood is. No one will know who Harry Redknapp is. No one will know who Jermaine Defoe is. No one will know who Chris Hughton is or Gus Poyet. They won't go, oh, you understand Tottenham. Okay, I'll listen to you, but I didn't listen to the other guys. Like, you need someone who can just communicate well and try to find a simple tactic that can, like to Jimbo's point, raise their levels, right? But that doesn't need a Tottenham guy. It just needs to be someone that knows how to communicate.
I don't think that's Ange, though. I think when you're in a relegation battle, the first thing you've got to do is stop conceding and make it hard make it hard for you to get beat. And they're open as Bonnie Blue when Ange Postecoglou was manager. So I don't think he's the answer.
Well, I'm just thinking, Kate, that he knows the players know him, right? And he said that he used to sit down at coming towards the end, they sat down and talked a lot. Maybe that's what they would do, and they would find a way. But I mean, I can't think of a Poch, maybe, right? But give me a name who's going to keep these fuckers up.
Harry Potter. He's the only chance we got because he's magic.
Jesus Christ, yeah. I don't know. Like, for me, I genuinely think it's a struggle, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's a struggle that the only way we come around it is, for me, I think we have to hope that some of the players that might be back for Sunderland and for the next 6 games after that they get back to full fitness straight away and that they immediately make a lift. Something like Kudus, I think, will be really important. But it's a long stretch to ask him to come back in and be like match fit immediately for the Sunderland game or for the game after. I know people in the chat that have come over from Savage channel predominantly. I think people that are regulars here probably subscribe to something closer to where I land on the Mathys Tel, that he's not as bad as some people say. But if you are someone that, you know, like, is on the other side of the coin on that one, you won't agree with me on this. But I think that Mathys Tel and having Kudus, having a dual threat, I think it will allow some sort of balance to the team, because when Kudus was in, we didn't have any left winger. We couldn't do anything on the left. So everything was down the right. And then the opposition knew that. So they would double up on him. And that became, you know, foolhardy to carry on doing that. And then recently with Mathys Tel, he was our only outlet down our left-hand side. And then he became doubled up on at times, right? So if you have 2 players that are confident that can take the players on, and you have a team that I think has learned to trust Kudus and learned to trust Mathys Tel as an outlet. So Mathys Tel's now got an injury. So if he's not fully fit, that's a problem. You get one piece back, the other one goes down. That's a fucking nightmare. And maybe Dejan Kulusevski. And I think that I haven't seen it yet, but I think that there might be some news out that Kulusevski says that he's ready up to the manager, but he's ready to play. I'm going to see if I can find that story. Again, like we are really, really hanging our hope on some very threadbare options at the top end of the pitch.
I think it was your show yesterday, Sean, where you said we're looking for, or it might have been the Spurs 5, I don't know. We're looking for a manager that's in a situation that's never been in before, where we're changing a manager with only 7 games to go to keep us up.
5, yeah. There's literally 0 examples of any managers that have been sacked and then someone else has come in. I think the closest thing, I think it was
9 games.
Gus Poyet that was sacked, and some Dutch guy, I forget the guy's name, came into Sunderland, did it. And also there was a West Ham scenario, but both of those guys had 9 or 10 games. So it's uncharted territory to come in a relegation battle with 7 games to play and keep them up. So we're asking for, we're going to have to break a record here to stay up.
I can't see more than 4 points in our remaining games. And I think we're going to struggle to get 4 points.
You don't see us winning a game, no?
I just can't see it. The way these guys are playing, and as soon as they can see, they capitulate. It's just like if they don't score first. Did you see the stats about us?
We haven't won a single game this season when we concede first.
Yeah, and it's like
over the whole fucking season, Jimbo.
I have never in 55 years of watching Tottenham, Sean. Right, I have never ever seen a season like this, and I've seen a season when we went down, but it wasn't like this, and I've never felt so detached from this football club in 55 years.
Yeah, someone put in a super chat last night on the Spurs 5, and it really I thought about it after the show. I don't usually think about shows after the show, but I never watch myself back because I'm always embarrassed by I can't stand watching myself back, right? I feel like, imposter syndrome or whatever. Hate it. But I usually don't even think about shows. I'll finish the show, I'll slam a couple more ciders, and I'll go and pass out in bed. And yeah, I'm a sad guy. I'm a really fucking sad guy.
I would say I'm the same, but I don't do that.
But there's someone put in a super chat right at the very end of the Spurs 5 last night, and it really hit home. It was the first thing I thought about this morning. I took the dog out for a walk, and I saw my neighbour who's a Tottenham fan, and he was like, "What's going on?" And I actually repeated the words of the super chat, and it said it used to be a privilege to be a season ticket holder. Now it's a chore.
Mm.
And he's absolutely spot on. Like, I don't know whether I want to renew. I'll always renew, right? Because I love Tottenham, but I haven't been to that many games this season because it's always it's such a struggle. It's a long way for me to get there to drive. If I drink and I get the train up, it's a fucking nightmare to get home. And if I drive and I can't drink, or if I do drive, then I drink anyway. Then I stay in a hotel. It's just a long afternoon, and then it's just all for what? To see the team play like shit. It's not fun. It's not fun, Kate, to be a Tottenham fan, and it hasn't been for quite a while.
No. I mean, we haven't been to a game. We've been invited to a few games this year, but we haven't been because, like you say, I mean, it takes us nearly 4 hours to get there. I've got fibromyalgia, so if I drive, that's crippling. And then I've got anxiety. So if I go on a train, sometimes that's crippling as well. So it is a real thing for me to go. And I don't just go expecting us to win. We went 4 or 5 games last season, went to Arsenal. We saw us lose to Ipswich, all different things. But I just had no motivation this year because I thought if I'm putting myself in that situation, we're spending £400 or £500 to go to a game. I want to see the players try. And for a lot of this season, I don't think we've seen that fight from the players. And I get it. It's been tough, it's been chop and changing managers. I think I, for one, thought Frank would come in and make a real difference, and he didn't. And I just really lost quite a lot of interest with Tottenham this season. I contemplated not doing Spurs content anymore. And, people message us, say, oh, come to this game, come to that game. But we just didn't. I'd rather have spent the money going out for a meal and spending it on my son, for instance, than going to the football. And I've never been like that. Going to Tottenham's always been one of my favourite things still. I mean, Jim was a season ticket holder for 25 years. But
how long's the commute from where you're up? I mean, I still don't even know where Lincoln is on the map. But we are
between
near Cambridge and somewhere else, right? It's above.
We're 2 hours from Cambridge. And we're about an hour and a half from Sheffield. So we're between Cambridge and Sheffield.
On the coast, on the right coast, on the east coast.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
Are you near the beach?
We're 45 minutes from Skegness.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so it's
Gotcha.
a fair old trot for us to get down there. And because of my condition, we have to stay over somewhere. I can't drive there and back in the same day. So yeah. But it's been a real chore.
I mean, tell me, take out Europe, right, in the league. Tell me in the last 2 seasons, the last game you sat down and watched, right, and you really enjoyed. I can tell you mine.
I could say a couple of away games. Man City, you know.
Yeah.
Man City away was all right. You know, we look confident and competent against them. I think the standard though, Jimbo, is like, again, I think this comes to expectations versus reality. You know, I think that Tottenham fans look at most of the teams in the Premier League and still present ourselves as a top 3 or 4 team, and therefore anyone that you would think is like finishing 12th, 13th, 14th, or whatever, we should be beating them. But I think that there's a couple of things that we're massively missing on that trick. Now, I'm not even going to go back to like the idea of, I think the expectations of the football club fundamentally shifted after the Champions League final. And I do think that 100%. I think that was a mistake. I always said it was the worst thing that could have happened to Tottenham was losing the final at the time that we did. But just now, even now, I think that the quality of the teams around us throughout the league has closed so much. You know, that there's a reason why. Like you've got 5 or 6, 7. You've got teams that are 14th that could still finish in the Champions League spot technically, and you've got teams that are, you know, that are sitting there that could get drawn, that could fall out of Europe altogether, because everyone is capable of beating anybody on their day.
Yeah,
and obviously the cream rises to some extent, but less so than I think ever before. I think in previous years you always knew by about October you'd start to see the best teams at the top and the worst teams at the bottom. It hasn't proven to be that way the last couple of seasons. And I think that the standard is closing. I think the game has changed style to its detriment. And I think Tottenham are well behind the 8 ball in adapting to that. And I think the fan base are also guilty, myself very much included, of just because I look at some of the players in the Tottenham's team and think, I don't think they're as bad as some people say they are. I don't think they're bad players. I just think that relatively compared to other teams, there's no difference between them. Like you look at Fulham's team, you look at Forest's team, you look at Wolves' team, and you kind of sit there and think, well, they're not that different. Like there's some gap between the some areas, but you know, I think a lot of the Nottingham Forest team could get into the Newcastle team, could get into the Manchester United team on their day, you know. And I don't necessarily see that with Tottenham anymore. Sorry, Jimbo.
Well, Tottenham, I think Tottenham are a top 6 club, right? But the team is not a top 6 team, without any doubt. But the club, the size of the club, we're a top 6 club, the size of us, and everything about it except the football. The football's not a top 6 team. It's as simple as that. Does that make sense? You know, it's just we're not. And you know,
who is the top 6 team now?
Well, it's definitely not Tottenham. You know, I don't even think we're a top 10 team at the minute.
Do you think that? You know, we had this argument about like Tottenham's backline. Okay, would you take Murillo or Milenkovic over Van der Ven and Romero as a pairing comparison, right? And I think, well, depends on the style of football and it depends on the team. I think if you were Real Madrid, you would rather have Micky Van der Ven than Murillo, probably, right? Because of the style that they play. You'd certainly probably rather have Romero over Milenkovic, but for Nottingham Forest and for the style of football that they currently play, and for Tottenham and the style of football that they currently play, or we're trying to play because you haven't got a system at the moment, I think that those 2 players, you'd rather have them in Tottenham's formation, Tottenham's system, because of the way where we're at, right? But I think you can make the same argument for Manchester United. Like, I think that Nottingham Forest backline is better than Manchester United's backline. I think that Nottingham Forest backline is better than Liverpool's backline to a degree, right? I'd certainly rather have Milenkovic over Joe Gomez, and Virgil van Disney is like he's falling off a cliff in terms of his reliability, and so like you could make an argument you'd rather have Micky Van der Ven or Murillo over Virgil van Disney going forward because of his age. So let me bring Lubo into the chat. Lubo's finally turned up. He's always late. Ian Lubo, late.
Lubo.
You right?
Some of us have to work for a living, you know.
Some of us didn't need to beg to come on then, did they? You know?
Well, I didn't beg at all.
I'm only joking, Lubo. I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking. How you doing, Bo? You okay?
All good, you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. we're just talking about horses for courses, I guess, is the best way to summarise it. I don't know if you heard what I was saying there.
I've just heard a bit about Nottingham Forest and other centre backs.
No, okay. I just chose centre back pairings as an example, right? But I just think that the quality in the standard in the Premier League is closed massively, and I think that the sum teams that do well, the sum is better than the parts. Teams that don't, the parts the parts look better than the sum. But like if people want to criticize, if Tottenham fans want to challenge the idea that Tottenham have got good players, they'll compare them to other teams that are also struggling or otherwise, and say, well, you'd rather have these players in Tottenham than those players we've got, which I think is fine. But I think you can make the same argument for a lot of other teams that aren't struggling, but and that's the point I'm making. I think that Nottingham Forest are 17th, so they're not doing great. But Murillo and Milenkovic as a pairing are a fantastic pairing for the way that Forest play football. But if you were Real Madrid, you'd rather have the Tottenham the Tottenham centre back pairing for their style of football and for where they're at. If that makes sense.
It does. Listen, they ate up our two centre forwards, but that's not hard. The two Forest boys last weekend. They're good players. If they were that fantastic, why Forest 17th in the table or 16th? Yeah. You've got to look at that as well.
I agree with that.
You look at it and you think, well, we've all hyped up Romero and Van der Ven, and look at the goals that we're leaking at the moment. So it's,
I think a lot of that, Lubo, is that our two centre backs are bozos. Honestly, they have these bozo moments that just put us in the shit time and time again. The two times they've been sent off was crucial times for us in the league, and they've cost us massively by doing it. Especially Van der Ven, 1-0 up against Palace, and he goes and has a bozo moment. And as soon as that happened, I said to Kate, "You might as well switch it off. We ain't never winning this game now."
Well, we've got no bounce back ability, that's for sure.
But what do you put that down to? Like, do you think that Romero and Micky van der Ven, if they were to go and play for a better team, that they would behave or perform to the same level of interest as they do or they have done recently? And again, I'm not making this all about those centre backs. So I could pick any player, right? Like, yes, Pape Sarr's never going to make it into a top team, right? 100%. He's not good enough. Berghvall might do in the future, but not there yet. Archie Gray maybe in the future, but not there yet. Mohamed Kudus. Could Mohamed Kudus do a job for Liverpool or something like that in a case where when Salah goes? I don't think they'll ever look at a player like Kudus. I think that's below his their standard or what they desire, because they've got the draw of players that are in the very top ilk. But my point being, like, I don't believe that for the most part. I think in key positions Tottenham are weak, but that we have a lot of talent in certain individuals, but they collectively let their heads drop when times become tough in moments in games. And I wonder whether those same players in a different environment would man up. And if so, if you agree with that, is that because they're not leaders, but they would rely on that they need leaders around them that we don't have? Is it because the management? Is it because they don't respect the football club, but they would respect Real Madrid, or they would respect playing for Arsenal or whoever, whoever else? What is the collective reason why talented individuals crumble together, but they wouldn't do that if they were playing in a different environment? If you agree with that sentiment. Kate, I'll let you go first on that one. Oh, Jimbo, whoever.
Maybe so. A lot of it's to do with frustration, that they're frustrated. I mean, that's what it seems like with Romero with me. He seems to just lose his head. Just all of a sudden, 1 minute he's all right, and then he just loses it. But I think Van der Ven, if he was to go into a higher standard of a team, I think he'd be a much better player.
I think the thing with Romero, he needs I think Ange stomped out a lot of Romero's bad attitude and a lot of his stupid mistakes. And I think that he needs a manager he respects, whether that be right or wrong. He's an Argentinian hot-headed guy, and I think if he respects the manager, you'll get more out of him. But I also think a lot of it boils down to the fact that we've got always at Tottenham, we've had a decent first 11, but there's never any sort of competition for places. So they know that if they mess up, it don't matter. They're going to be playing next week because there's no one else to challenge them for their spot, and there's a complacency that sets in. either that or there just is something inherently wrong and cursed at Spurs, because it seems that every player we get rid of goes on to become a baller, and yet when they're at Spurs, they're bang average.
If you had a football club that was a proper football club for the top, and it was a serious place, and you had serious people in all the top positions, the whole thing would work its way down.
Yeah, but Lubo, how often does Virgil van Dijk come into contact with the with the owners of Liverpool?
But you got serious people in between as well. The whole atmosphere there, the whole attitude is ultra professional.
Yeah, my point is that how often does a player come into contact with anybody other than the coaches, the physios, the medical team, or the manager? How often do they meet with Johan Lang? How often do they meet with Vinay? I would imagine not very often at all.
How many of our players knocked on Levy's door over the years to complain about the manager? Plenty of unfortunately, plenty of meetings went on in the MPL training ground. So that's just difficult. It doesn't happen in other clubs.
Good point. Or does it not? We don't know, do we? I don't know. So that's the question I'm asking. I've got no idea whether or not Josh Kroenke is accessible to, to Eberechi Eze. I've got no idea.
Well,
you're right. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. I never got a chance to meet the CEO of Google when I was over there. I never got a chance to meet those people.
I thought you were the CEO of Google, Sean.
I should have been, mate. I should have been, Kate. Had I been, it would have been a little bit less woke, a little bit more, a little bit more the way we like to see the world go.
That's a good subject for your next ramblings show.
Rabbit hole. The rabbit hole.
How come I didn't make CEO of Google?
Yeah, it's definitely a conspiracy.
Exactly.
True story. They demanded everybody. So I was on secondment at the time to a company called Gannett, who owned the entire USA Today network, and they made the entire organization, including people like myself, take unconscious bias training. Right, and I was like, I'm not taking that training. I'm not doing it. And my boss was like, you have to do it. I was like, I'm not doing it. And they said, why not? I said, because I've looked over the shoulder of one of my colleagues and seen him taking the training, and every single scenario is a white man that is the guilty party in some hypothetical situation where, someone of, whatever, some sort of diversity thing is getting hounded out. I said, I'm not taking that training. I said, why not? I said, because you're making me out to feel like a victim. I haven't done anything. And secondly, if you're saying that it's not in my mind, but it's in my subconscious mind, then what possible benefit is consciously training for it in the first place? So I refuse to fucking do it. Go fuck yourself. And out of 4,000 employees, there was only 2 of us that didn't do it. Myself and a girl. I'll never forget her name. Tanyette Colon, her name was, who was an Italian girl. It's a terrible last name. But we stood true. I mean, we ain't fucking doing it. We ain't doing it. And in the end, they succumbed to my logic and let me off. But yeah, this is what you do. This is what you deal with those sorts of organisations, right? So donuts at the top, Lubo, forcing their ideologies on people, and maybe that's happening at Tottenham.
Well, Sean, it's done that. That's happened for 25 years, mate. That's the problem. That's
25 years. You're still on that 25 years thing.
Absolutely.
Even Stel is reasonable with that. He goes, I don't say 25 years. I'll say 5 years. You still think we failed for 25 years?
I think the biggest problem for me has been they've gone so far without taking risks, and they won't jump that extra length, the extra jump up to challenge the top players, the top teams with the top players, because there's no guarantee that the risk will come off. They're very good with safe bets. Dele Alli 5 million, Modric 15 million, Bissouma 25 million, Maddison 30 million. Goes on and on and on and on. They're all opportunities. Some come off, some don't. I'm not talking specifically about those forms, I'm talking generally, but they never ever stretched themselves. They never went for it. And for me,
and the ones that they did stretch it a bit further were terrible buys. The recruitment in this club is absolutely the worst in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Jimbo, they were working to a cap wage. So for me, you can only go for so many. You're only going up to a certain level. You look at the centre forwards we brought in. Over the years, they brought in Vinicius Junior for a £3 million loan because David Pleat recommended Ollie Watkins. Levy wouldn't pay the 27 million, rising to 33 with add-ons when he left Brentford. He went to Villa. There's just one prime example. Vincent Janssen, 15 million. They're all set.
This is what Lubo does, though, right? Lubo will always remind everybody, every chance he gets, of all of the mistakes. He doesn't talk about the fact that we signed Luka Modric, who went on to be one of the best players in the world. Doesn't talk about Gareth Bale. Doesn't talk about some of the absolute superstars that have graced our pitch and graced our shirt over the last 25 years. He doesn't do that. Doesn't do that because he only wants to promote an ideology. You're as bad as Google, mate. You're as bad as you are a woke Tottenham fan when it comes to
I have unconscious
of all of the crimes, the white man at the top.
Yeah. Unconscious bias against Levy, yeah.
It is. You have got an unconscious bias against Levy, 100%.
I hope you're not suggesting there's an agenda here, Shawnee. I hope you're not suggesting that.
Yeah.
We can't say that. Apparently, saying that people have an agenda is apparently off the limits. You can't say that. Just like you can't describe someone's rating or someone's vibe as being positive or negative. You know, you can't do that. No. Everyone's just being real. Everyone's just being true. Yeah. Everyone's just stating facts.
Yeah.
That's why I do think, as much as I'm not anyone to heap praise on Enoch or Levy, I do think it's very easy to pick out all of the bad things, but we have done some good business. Don't get me wrong, I think probably if you worked it out, the bad outweighs the good, but sometimes as well, you know, I know people get criticised for saying this, but is it better the devil you know than the devil you don't? Because who knows who we're getting next?
No. Well, I've got to tell you something. You can only wait so long for people to change, and they're not going to change. We know Levy never changed. We know Lewis isn't going to change. So if you know, and I don't know whether you saw our show last night. We had Roy Beck on.
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys were there for the glory nights in the last century when it was a proper football club. You know, when we go on we buy these top players, we break transfer records. We were there. We were in that top five. We may not have been a league team, but we were. You know, we won the UEFA Cup when it was like second, third, and fourth from all the top leagues were in. So it was like virtually the same as the Champions League now, and we won it. So we had great players, top managers. Hasn't happened since Enoch came in. Very rarely. We had a few like an oasis a couple of times. A bit of water in an oasis of a desert, a complete desert. So that's the way it is. And for me, if they'd have stretched and not got there, then I'd have been 100% behind them. Because
you wouldn't.
I would have done.
You wouldn't, because it's a subjective thing. Stretching, it's a subjective thing, and you've decided long ago that Daniel Levy doesn't matter what Daniel Levy did, mate. You would never accept it.
No, I would have done.
All because he rejected your offer of help for the Spurs club shop.
Who cares?
You care. You tell me that story every time we get.
I thought it was stupidity at the time. Did it make a difference to my life? Of course it didn't. What actually showed me what it was like was his answer at the AGM when there was just a complete lack of empathy towards fans whatsoever, and that showed that they're just hard-nosed businessmen. All they're interested in was profit. They couldn't give a shit about the football club. They took the football club up to a level where it was making money, but they wouldn't take the extra risk to try and take us and make us successful. And for me, that's cheating. That's cheating all the fans, because you're not giving your best. You may be going 70-75% of the way, and then you're stopping.
You've decided what their best is. Maybe their level of competence stretched to the point of getting into third, fourth, and fifth, and it wasn't their lack of ambition; it was their lack of ability. And on by the terms that you just extended, you always told me, you would never begrudge your son or your daughter if they got a B in a grade, but that was the best that they could do. Don't compete with others, compete with yourself. So maybe Daniel Levy and everybody else, maybe they weren't capable of decision making that got them to the top, not through lack of ambition, just through lack of competence. But by your own rationale, that would be okay. But it's not, because you've ascribed it down to ambition and not something else. So I personally believe that you are closed-minded on the topic. But I didn't want to have a Levy debate tonight, Lubo. I want to get the other guys involved in where we're at right now. Because at the end of the day, the Lewises, or the new majority owners, they are not going anywhere, at least for the time being. But what we can only hope for in that regard then, Jimbo, is better people being brought in to make decision making. I want to ask you about this idea of dual DOF, right? Because over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of names that have been banded around. Sebastian Kiel, the guy from Dortmund, who, for me, I've looked into him. You know, he's got 2 or 3 names that you can sit there and go, you know, fair play, sign some absolute ballers. But again, doing that into the German league where Dortmund have the same gravitas, the same draw as a Liverpool or a United or whatever in their league as those teams do in the Premier League. And he signed a few good players, but Dortmund haven't exactly thrived in recent years relative to Bayern Munich or to the latterly rising Leverkusen, etc., or Leipzig. So I don't think he's necessarily got anything that makes me think he's a sensation or a superstar. The name that I would have loved to have seen, though, Jimbo, would have been Udogie Freeman. But apparently today the news has dropped there from Miguel Delaney that Udogie Freeman has turned us down. He's decided he would rather stay in a country that is on the proximity to World War III, being a DOF in a League Two or a second division club in Saudi Arabia. I mean, what does that tell you about where we're at? How do you feel about Udogie Freeman?
Well, I mean, look, I was always thinking that if they bring someone in, they're going to get rid of this plank Lang.
Yeah.
They'll bring him in and get rid of him, but I don't know. I saw yesterday someone saying about the standard of living in Saudi compared to England. Standard, I've spent a lot of time in Saudi because I worked for one of the royal family there. Standard of living there is excellent, and it's even better now than when I was there. I was going there in the 80s and 90s. So the standard of living there is good. Make no mistake about that. As I could give you a load of scenarios. Well, it's a lot better than this country. But obviously with the war, and he wants to stay there, what does that tell you about Tottenham?
Yeah.
Just tells you everything, doesn't it? We'd rather stay in a war than come to Tottenham. I mean, there's not much more to say.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Yeah.
I mean, but
London or Saudi? I mean, I'd rather take my chances with the atomic bomb than being knifed. I don't know. Not great, you know.
This says it all, Sean. But I mean, look, I mean, I still can't believe that they've bought him in Lang, and to bring in a Gooner into Tottenham for me is just unforgivable. It's just unforgivable that they bought this Vinay in.
Yeah.
It beggars belief that they did it, and they bought in. I said on our show yesterday that my best mate's a Villa fan, and he laughed when he knew Lang was coming to us.
Oh, really?
He laughed, yeah, and he said, "Oh, you're going to see how good this guy is, taking the piss."
See, a lot of people that I've spoken to that are Villa fans said there's a girl called Cece who's in the Football Inc. Chat, and she says that a lot of the Villa team that has succeeded in the last 24 months was built from him. It wasn't so much Monchi, and it certainly wasn't this new guy that's been there 5 minutes who came from Sociedad. But actually, Johan Lang had some really good ideas regarding bringing in some young players that have since emerged into the team. And clearly, Johan Lang's remit is youth talent, right? But it's, for me, like you don't, the dual thing doesn't work, Jimbo.
No,
right? You can't do that. But I just don't, if like, you can't be only good at one remit. It's not the job isn't that fucking complicated. I mean, come on. Like, some of us are like, some people dig ditches all day long. Some people were like, I don't know, like creating algorithms that manipulate your attention. All they're doing is finding players with talent. It ain't that hard. Come on now.
I've always said to Kate, Sean, she'll tell you this, ever since we met at Tottenham, football's not difficult. Right, it's not difficult. If you've got the right people in the right places, it's such an easy game to play, you know, and it goes with the hierarchy as well. If you've got the right people in place that can spot a player, but we just don't seem to have them people. We don't have the people that know how to run the club properly as a football team, you know, because we're a football club. We're not an entertainment club. We don't seem to have the people there to recruit properly now. You know, and we're all right. What you said, we have in the past recruited some good players, but the last few years our recruitment's been diabolical you know, and we struggle to keep a manager. They don't know how to keep a manager happy. It's just this club is an absolute shambles.
I hear you, Jimbo. Kate, would you have taken Dougie Freedman? And someone put in the chat there, maybe the reason he rejected us isn't because of security or money or anything else. Maybe it's because of doesn't fancy a dual role. I mean, I think there's only 2 examples of dual CEOs or dual DOF roles in the Premier League. I forget the second one, but Chelsea's the first, and that's Paul Winstanley, who's another guy we were looking at. And Chelsea's just as much of a basket case as Tottenham are. They're having slightly better outcomes, but they're relatively to their investment. You could make the argument that it's just as poor. So
I just think
what's going on, Kate?
I think it's ridiculous to have 2 DOFs. You know, as if we haven't got enough egos in the team. You've got 2 guys vying to do the same job, neither of which can do it properly, clashing probably about everything, and it's just an absolute shambles. I mean, I remember hearing you talking about Dougie Freedman, Sean, and so I went on and had a look, and I was really excited. I thought this guy is going to be good for us. I actually like him, and I think a lot of the players he's brought in have been good. But listen, if I'm working in Saudi, whether there's a war or not, the amount of tax I'm not paying, I ain't giving that up to come to a shambles like Spurs. I'm sorry. And most of the time things do boil down to money. But at the same time, as if that wasn't enough, to do a dual role with someone where you don't know, you know, they could be polar opposite on the way they think or the way they want to do things. It's ridiculous. I don't know how we've got to this point. And I should really, because it's been coming a mile away. But to have 2 people doing the same job, it's just never, ever going to work. I mean, me and Jim, if he tries to be the boss, we clash because, you know, he's got to know his place. And it's the same with directors of football. You've got to know your place. You can see they're smiling. He knows I'm joking. It's just...
No, you're not, mate. No, you're not.
It's just the
No, you're
ultimate...
not. I know it as well. I know how you women think.
Yeah.
He just lets me think I'm the boss, but no, it's mad.
He has his. We have our ways of making you do what we want, Keith. Okay.
You know, a lot of people as well. I was just reading in the chat saying, you know, there's nothing in Saudi. It's just a desert. Saudi's an incredible place to live. I know one of my good friends lives there. Not only that, but Jim, like he says, he worked there for 25 years, and the photos from back then, and it's gotten far, you know, more advanced now. So, you know, I think people are disrespecting Saudi.
The food's good. Everything's cheaper. The wages are better. There's no tax. The standard of living's a lot higher. People are nice. There's no very, very little crime. Let me tell you now, there's the crime there is so minimal. It's unbelievable. Don't get raped. You don't get burglaries. You don't get muggings. You know, if you left your phone in the shop, right, and you went back a day later, your phone would be there. It's it's just a country that's got itself sorted.
I hear.
They've got a few laws that are not westernized, but I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, when I was going there, Sean, women weren't allowed to drive, but they're allowed to drive now. So, it was nice when I went there.
They're allowed to what? Sean?
Vote.
There's no voting there.
Of course, it's a monarchy.
There's no voting.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that's a problem as well, though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, I mean, democracy's a fucking joke anyway, right? You only get 2 options, and when one of them fucks up, you go back to the other one, and when they fuck up, you go back to the other group. You know, it's all a fucking mirage, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's like there's no real options. You get what you're given in this life, and some people believe they got slightly more freedoms than another place, but you don't really. You know?
Yeah.
Kate's thinking about Emily Pankhurst, aren't you, Kate?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm burning the bra and all that malarkey. That's what I'm thinking. Us women died so we could have that vote, Sean. Don't you dare disrespect it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Let me so this other story that's broken today. This is coming from Matt Law and Sam Wallace. So a double raid from the Telegraph. Look, we don't like Matt Law, Matt Bore, Matt Snore, Matt Chaw. We don't really like him because he always goes against Tottenham. But Sam Wallace is a little bit different. I think Sam Wallace is a representation. I think it's of Is he the Forest guy? I forget. Anyway, it says Tottenham Hotspur will consider turning to Sean Dyche to rescue the club from relegation if first choice Roberto De Zerbi continues to insist that he will only take the job at the end of the season. Now, I've got options here. I can either go and put my camera on and be, hey, a decent club, or I could be, yeah, you know, I'm the English Edge Postecoglou. I mean, I don't know what's worse for me. Both of these managers are set up to fail for different reasons. Roberto De Zerbi, for me, doesn't have a squad that wants to play his football. And I think that even if you could convince him to come in now, it'll be chaos and carnage and fun as a content creator. I love the way he plays football. But as I was saying yesterday to the guys here, like, I don't want a manager that comes in because he's a good fit for the squad we have, because the squad that we have, I don't like. But right now, you can't buy any players. So the manager that you need to bring in now has to be able to work with the squad that he has. And I'm not sure De Zerbi can. Sean Dyche probably could, but I don't necessarily rate Sean Dyche at all. Lubo, let me ask you, mate. How do you feel about that whole Sean Dyche, Roberto? If that's the plan that Tottenham are working towards, we're trying to convince De Zerbi, and if he doesn't want to come until the end of the season, then Sean Dyche is our Hail Mary. Is he the Hail Mary that you want to see?
God, is this where we've come to as a club? Jesus, that's worrying, isn't it? It's worrying if we need Sean Dyche. I mean, seriously, you better, I don't know, Dyche, Allardyce, go and get Neil Warnock then. I mean, you know, is this where we're at now? I mean, it's horrendous, isn't it?
It's a club.
It's horrendous.
Oh, good.
No.
I thought it was reported that Sean Dyche had turned us down a couple of weeks ago.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I tried to, guys. I did try to, but you know, the journalists are going to journal. You know, I did say I don't really want to come in, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. How are you, Sava? Good to see you. You all right, mate?
I'm all right. Yeah, I was just walking the dogs, and then it started pissing down with rain, so it's been cut short.
Ah, poor doggies.
Oh, listen, mate, their loss is our gain. Great to have you, man. Great to have you. Should I come to Tottenham, Sava? Should I come to Tottenham and save the day? Am I the Hail Mary that you fans want?
I didn't know Sean Dyche was Australian.
Yeah, they sound very similar. The only difference is the inflection at the end of every sentence. And so, like I always say, you know, Australians, they're basically a nation of people with amnesia. You know, they say things like, I went to the bar last night, and I always say, are you telling me or are you asking me? Because I don't know. Yeah, I can't work it out.
Now we know he's originally was Sean from Sydney. Now we know.
What are you saying, Sam? What are you saying, mate? What are you saying?
It's getting pretty funny, isn't it? I mean, Dougie Freedman, you can imagine his agent went, nah, don't fancy that shit show. Sean Dyche. Is that what I've joined on? Sean Dyche conversation?
Well, the conversation was, according to Sam Wallace, Tottenham will consider turning to Dyche if first choice De Zerbi, this club, to insist that he'll only take the job at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, I'll be honest. I think De Zerbi would be an absolute madman more than he is to take the job with 7 games to go. Who wants that on their CV if they go down? Like, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. And this is a manager who he goes in and implements a philosophy, right? We've got no idea what does he do when you've got 7 games to go and it's purely about grinding out results. And that's probably where we've landed on Dyche. That's probably where we've landed on Dyche, right? Like, listen, we're all going, oh, this is a problem. We've landed on Dyche. But let's be fair. If you're offering me Dyche or Tudor, I'm having Dyche every day of the week. Tudor is an atrocious football manager. And Dyche, look, I think Dyche will at least try and sort out the back four. I think he'll at least get square pegs in square holes. And I think that he'll try and make us difficult to beat. And if you say that to Spurs fans for the long term, we hate it, right? We want to play football aggressive. but we're not in the long term. We're in 7 games. I don't know how many. What's 790s, Lubo? How many minutes of football we got left?
630.
Thank
good
you,
man.
human calculator.
Very good. I can see figuring that one out. Well done.
630 minutes of football. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to look nice. It just needs to stop conceding goals. And Kate said the best thing I heard earlier. Right? It can't be Ange because of the simple reason that whatever the next manager does, the first thing they've got to do is stop conceding goals. You can't go, everyone's saying, oh, he'll attack. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think, we need to stop conceding goals. So, do I want him, Sean? I don't care, right? But I'd rather him than Tudor.
Would you rather Deserby, though?
What if he's offered?
Not for 7 games.
What if he's offered
Sean?
the rest of the season and next season?
Who? Dyche?
Yeah.
I mean, if he keeps us up right now, he'll be everyone's favourite manager, won't he?
Yeah.
He'll have earned it. I don't know. This is why it's a mess, though, isn't it, Jim? Like, I think, do you know what? More and more this week, I'm starting to see so many people starting to almost get resigned to the fact that this might be happening now. My mates are bantering me about the championship, and I'm literally saying things back. Well, at least we won't have to see VAR. I'm there. I'm bantering back because I think we could be gone. But
did you do?
Tell me. So let me ask Sava a question, right? Tell me where the next points are coming from, Sava.
I don't know.
Because I can't see it.
I don't know. I think we're terrible going forwards. We're terrible at the back. Our centre back thinks he's a right winger. Honestly, that man's a disgrace. But I know that's not the question you asked me. Our centre back thinks he's a right winger. Our defenders can't defend.
Romero?
Yeah, I can't stand him. Our defenders can't defend. There's absolutely nothing in that midfield from an attacking perspective or from a defensive perspective. I don't know. We just got the young lads with legs. We haven't actually gone either way, either protect the back four or get forward and create. We've done neither. I don't know, Jimbo, but you know and I know football's a funny old game. We could go to Sunderland and win, but I can't see it. I just can't see it, Jimbo.
Can I quickly say something on that? The back four, I'm not disagreeing with Sava, but this was the back four that Ange got us 5th with.
Yeah, it is the back four that he got us 5th with.
But all the goals wasn't the strikers that we had either.
But it wasn't that. That was the point, Kate. We were still conceding a shed load of goals, but at the other end, you had Maddison, Kulu, and Son banging in goals for fun. That got you can let in 2 or 3 a game if you're scoring 2 or 3 a game. Right now, we can't score goals. We've got no attacking threat whatsoever, and that means you've got to be tight at the back. Look at Forest; they don't score many, but they don't concede many. They're in every game until the last minute, aren't they? They're in every game that they play in until the last minute.
I still think, I'm going to get slated for this. I still think that back four, we're conceding so many goals under Tudor. I still think a better manager stops us giving away that many goals. Because, I mean, it's been ridiculous how many goals we've conceded since Tudor took over. I don't know who that is, and I don't know if it's too late. I think it is too late myself, but...
Kate, do you know what I'd go back to? And I know a lot of people weren't happy with this, and probably I'm going to get stick for this, but what's new? It's YouTube. When Frank sat Bentancur and Paulinho in front of the back four, everyone lost their mind. Yeah, everyone lost their mind. It's not the Spurs way. We're not attacking. If you go and look at the data from when he stopped doing that, and this is why I judge Frank, he should have said, sod the fans. When Bentancur and Paulinho played in front of that back four, we weren't losing many, and we were hardly conceding any goals. It wasn't pretty, but he protected the back four. Now you've got Gray and Sarr in front of the back four, and whatever people think of them as individual footballers, it is weak. It's a very weak 2-man midfield. So I'd go back to that.
Yeah, I've got to ask the question. How many points would we have got? We got 1 out of 5. Sorry, Lubo, give me 2 seconds. We got one word answer from everybody. We have 1 point from 15 under Igor Tudor. How many points would we have got for the same 5 games if Thomas Frank was still here?
3.
3? Jimbo?
Maybe 3.
I think a push 3. But
You wanted Frank out, right? All of us wanted
I
Frank
couldn't
gone
see
at the
where
time,
the next point was coming from with Frank.
Yeah, and nothing's
And then
changed.
they
in that
bring in
regard.
Tottenham, and then we see the same thing. Where's the next point coming from?
Yeah. Kate, you the same on that one?
I'm going to say 4 because I want to be different.
Okay. Lubo, I'll let you come in and ask your question now, Lubo. Just to finish off that topic, how many points would we have had? I think we'd have more points than if Thomas. I think Thomas Frank. I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking, or maybe I am, but deliberately because I think we all are, because everybody wanted Frank gone, but actually Igor Tudor's proven to be, in my opinion, worse. I think we would have had more under Thomas Frank, not a lot more, but I think we would have had a little bit more than we do now.
Don't think it would have been any different, to be honest. Arsenal and Fulham were far better than us on the day. Palace we were down to 10 men. Liverpool was a great result, and Forest were just better than us, throughout the whole game. I don't see where we'd have got any extra points.
Because if you change the way you set up, maybe, or put...
And my answer now is going to lead into what Savile was saying about Benzon Corpalinia. That was great. We had 13 points out of 15 away from home, but that wasn't going to carry on. And the home form was still carried on. And the problem we had at home, it was never going to be. We were only that high because of the away form. So but
that's not the point. The data still. But again, Lubo, you've changed my conversation from home and away form to the system. I'm showing you right. Look, I've got it here. I know you don't like facts, but I've got it here. If you look at that data, right, for the first 15, 16 games, which is the majority of Paulinho Bentancur in a double pivot, Spurs were at most conceding. Listen, we lost some games by 2, but we weren't conceding 3s and 4s in games because those 2 sat in front of the back 4 and mopped up. Now, everyone said, we want to see Gray in centre mid. We want to see Sarr in centre mid. The problem is neither of them are defensive midfielders, right? Neither of them are good in the air. Neither of them have got that battling mentality that Bentancur and Paulinho had. So be careful what you ask for. Be careful what we ask for.
Bentancur got injured, right? Paulinho didn't, but Bentancur did. So
I said to Kate the other day that he needs to get Gallagher and Paulinho in front of the back 4.
Absolutely.
So I said that to you, Kate, didn't I? I said that is the only chance we've got of stop leaking goals.
I agree, Jim, but we were also the 2 that sat on our channel when we are Tottenham TV and said playing Bentancur and Paulinho at home is too defensive. We want to see us push forward more. Because I can remember saying it. I'm not going to try and rewrite what we said. But in hindsight, that was the way to do it because we probably would have stayed up if it had carried on that way.
Well, we haven't gone yet.
Do you guys not think, though, right, that the players are very much aware of the statistic, like we all are, that as soon as we concede first, we don't win a game?
Yeah.
So they have to be because it's been black and white.
Black and white, right? Everyone's aware of it. Like, to me, we got to find a way to score first. I don't know if there is a statistic. It's probably not a strong one, but when we've scored first in games, what has then been the outcome? Do we still go on to lose? Sure. Can you find out? Well, when we score first in a game, whether we go on and win, lose, or draw, whatever happens, because it hasn't happened that often. I'll be entirely honest, it hasn't happened that often, but I'd love to know because maybe scoring first is the way to get us through this. And therefore, go gung-ho in the first 10 minutes. See if you can just hammer a goal out.
When we scored first against Palace, I thought we looked really good. And then Van der Ven went and had his bozo moment.
Yeah,
if he hadn't done
that, exactly. So that's like an anomaly, Jimbo, isn't it? Because you go down to 10 men and it's 1-0 up, then obviously the whole wheels fall off. But in other games where that didn't happen, I'd love to know what happened there.
Maybe give them a Brucey bonus if they score first, like they get a relegation clause or something stuck in their contract if they haven't got one, or something, a bit of motivation to get them to score a goal.
There you go, Sean. I believe, again, depends how much you want to believe ChatGPT. It says in all competitions this year, we've scored first, we've won 9, drawn 4 and lost 6. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true.
In all competitions, that includes probably the Champions League or whatever.
Yeah, so again, I don't know if that's true. But you're right. We score first. Sorry, we concede first. And the mentality and the ability of these players, which I think is intertwined, by the way. They just melt, don't they? Yeah. Like Forest score, and you're thinking, right, get a battering, get the hairdryer treatment from your manager at halftime, You come out in that second half and you throw everything you've got at Nottingham Forest. We just came out and it was as though we were the team that scored first.
We ran out of ideas, though. I was at the game and I was just sitting there watching from behind the south stands. We were attacking the north stand, and we were getting free kicks in the centre of the pitch, maybe 10 yards outside the centre circle, and they're just looking at each other, and the players aren't moving, and they're all just sort of going, "Well, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do?" It's like they've only prepared for corner kicks. They've got their one little corner kick routine to the back post, which has become so fucking predictable. It's embarrassing. You know, I honestly don't know what they're doing on the training ground where they can't dedicate like 15 minutes to like, let's have like, you know, for corner kicks or free kicks, this is what we're going to do in this area of the pitch. This is what we're going to do on this area here, whatever else. But it's like they don't. I don't know. I can't imagine if you're spending 3 hours on the training ground every day. Like, can they not dedicate any time at all to having some plan of action for what they do in certain game states? Mikel Arteta has figured out enough hope. He gives the players homework, right? This is what you do in these situations. I know it sounds.
Imagine our players having homework.
I'd like them to do some fucking day work. Some office work, let alone some homework. It'd be nice to see if they had any fucking idea at all. It just doesn't look like they know what they're doing. They sit there and they look at each other.
Even the training ground, Sean, they all get given a little piece of paper with, right, here's tonight's homework.
Yeah.
Romero and
they mark it. They fucking mark it, and then Arteta fucking rings it with a red marker pen. See me in my office after school.
But you know what's scary, Sean? Even when you look this year, we've been really good from scoring at set pieces. Tudor's removed those good set pieces.
Yeah.
We used to whip the balls in. Now we're doing this weird kind of floaty corner that goes to the right to the back post every time, but with no whip on it. And I don't know, like, I didn't think it could get worse, and it has. I'm so
and
scared.
The short pass they've been doing as well.
Yeah,
I don't like
I mean, I just don't know what's happened to this club, honestly.
Kudus is good at corners, though, isn't he? Wasn't he?
You're making me very depressed here.
Oh shit! And I've got to stick with you for the rest of the weekend.
In the 31 league games that we played this season, when we've scored first, we've won 7, and coincidentally, we haven't conceded a goal in any of the wins that we've had in the Premier League this season. We've drawn 2, which is United at home and Burnley away.
That can't be true. That can't be true. We beat Leeds United 2-1.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. That was the one game. You're quite right. Apart from that, we didn't concede a goal, and we lost to Villa, Bournemouth away, and Palace at home.
Yeah.
So
I'm just reading through that article about Dejan Kulusevski, by the way, because there was this quote that was going around saying, "Don't worry, the manager knows I'm ready. It's up to him. I'm ready." He's not talking about Tottenham. He's talking about the Swedish team.
That's what I said. Yeah, of course he is.
He's saying it's up to the coach. It's up to the coach, but I'm ready. Which essentially means, and he's even said it. He said, "My entire focus right now is on the World Cup." I've got to ask you this question, not just about Dejan Kulusevski, but also about Romero and other people that we know have got, a little bit of history about prioritizing country over club. You're in a relegation battle. You're a team that hasn't faced a relegation battle. You've got players that are particularly, or at least comparatively, unprepared for it relative to the people we're in it against. It's one thing to not want to be in a relegation battle anyway. In a World Cup year, does it add another dilemma that in the last game or the last 2-3 games of the season, if there's a requirement for Romero to go in two-footed, or not two-footed, but to go in hard, or a Van der Ven, or a Xavi Simons, or a Richalison, or any of these people, and them going in extra hard puts themselves at risk of an injury, but it might end up being the difference between scoring a goal or keeping a goal out to keep us up. Do you guys have the confidence that these players care enough about Tottenham versus their World Cup to put in that extra shift? Because I genuinely am worried that the worst case scenario that we're facing is that we're in a relegation battle in a World Cup year, and we probably have, I don't know the stats, but I think we would have more World Cup players in our squad than West Ham do, than Leeds do, than Forest do. And so you're going to have more people that are thinking two-minded. They're caught in two minds about whether or not to go in aggressively in certain scenarios. And is that going to act against us in our running?
I think more to the point, Sean, is you look at the opposition. How many of their players are going to the World Cup?
That's what I said. Yeah. I think we've got more than they have, right?
Sunderland. Yeah, seven of their players went to the AFCON, didn't they? In the winter. Brighton. How many of the Brighton players will be going to the World Cup? A few.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not done the research on it, to be honest.
Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Everton. I
just think this. You never want to be in a relegation battle, but being in a relegation battle when you're not used to it and you doubt the interest of the players anyway in a World Cup year.
Yeah.
Are they really going to put their body on the line for us when their World Cup places at stake?
I doubt their commitment to put their body on the line for us, full stop, whether there's a World Cup or not.
I was going to say that, Kate. If it wasn't a World Cup, I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah. I just don't think they care.
Oh, you two are so in sync.
We're not normally. We argue about everything to do with Spurs, having, you know that. We're polar opposites. He wants Ange. I definitely don't want Ange. But no, I
didn't say I wanted Ange. What I said, if you listen to what I say, right, put words into my mouth, madam.
Jim wants Ange. Jim wants Ange back.
Jimbo, you did say you want Ange back.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was, right,
he's the only guy that can save us. I think is what you said.
I said I think that because they know each other so well that maybe he could come in and galvanise them and get more out of them than someone else that's going to come in that they don't. You
want Tottenham to stay up, right?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, so if you think he's the only one that can save to keep us up, then you obviously want Ange.
All right, I want Ange then. All right, what I'm thinking is that he would get that bit more out of them. Where if you bring in a Dyche or you bring in whatever fucking bozo manager they're going to bring in, Adolf Hitler, right? That he could get that squeak that bit more out of them because they know each other so well. I'm clutching at straws here, Sean, right? Because I don't want us to go down.
Sean's going to clip First Domestic on YouTube, aren't you, Sean? After the show.
No, I'm just Sean, I'm currently looking for my Hitler face.
To answer your question, Sean, I'll be honest. I think the others have kind of said it. I don't even think the World Cup comes into it. I just don't. I think that there's a lot of arrogance from a lot of these players that think they're better than they are. Listen, the fans think they're better than they are. The players think they're better than they are, right? And they're not. They've shown now for a number of years they are not better than they are. We argue every week. We argue every week about, oh my gosh. We argue every week about, is that who I think it is? Wow.
How many points do we need to stay up?
Oh gosh,
we need 9! 9 points to stay up.
Oh gosh.
It's getting worse, isn't it? Oh my God.
You're getting cancelled.
Getting cancelled, isn't it? It was far better when you could just do a cutout and come on like that, wasn't it? Right?
Sorry, Sam. Say what you're saying, mate. Say what you're saying.
Hang on. Look, for me, I think we've seen enough evidence over the years that these players are very good at caring in public. They're very good at caring on Instagram. Hang on, sorry, let me swallow this.
That's what she said.
What have I joined? What is this smart? I'm just having a little toffee. If anyone hasn't had these,
I love them.
They're great. Toffees are great.
My mum was my mum's favourite sweets. She used to open the pack, have one, and put it back in the cupboard. I was like, one? Anyway, I think we've seen they're great in public at talking about how we're going to do things well. They're great at telling us they're going to go back to the drawing board and the training ground. They're great on Instagram. Their agents are great at talking about how good they are. The fans are great at hyping them up. And, he's a World Cup winner, yada, 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 Micky van der Ven, everyone. These players have shown time and time again they can't do the basics. Romero can't concentrate for 90 minutes. He is physically and mentally incapable of sitting for 90 minutes and just being a centre-back. He has to run into midfield. He has to run and kick people up in the air for no reason, loses the ball and doesn't track back. Micky van der Ven, gone. I don't know what's happened to him the last 3 months, gone. Just attitude all over the place. Pedro Porro, gone. Because I know Lubo says I only ever go at the young players. The young players are the ones trying. The Tels, the Grays. I would chuck, I know he's not young, but Danso, whatever you think of him, gives his all. You can see that Danso is fighting for it.
Yeah.
Then you look at these so-called senior players and you go, what are you doing? What, like, I'm not expecting, I don't think many of these players are great, Sean, as you know. Yeah. But I'm at least expecting be organised like Forest are. Forest the other day, without the ball, was a masterclass in how to set up a team. Without the ball, they looked compact, right? They dropped into the two in front of the back four. The wingers came back to help the fullbacks. And then when they counter-attacked, they counter-attacked out wide. It was a masterclass in how to sit in and then go.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Spurs, we can't have a back four for 45 minutes that look like a back four.
Well, it's because they have fucking players that take it upon themselves, though, Saba, right? Well, let's be honest. I know everyone is like split on Romero, and I get a lot of hate from people that when I gave Romero a hard time for the way that he treats the club I think it's poor. I don't think he's committed to the football club. I think he wasn't available before the World Cup. I didn't like the fact that he called out the club. I think it's fine to have those sentiments, but you keep it behind closed doors. But I also think that the whole experiment with the Ange Postecoglou thing, Saba, where he started saying time to go to a back three, and Ange was bringing on back threes. I think that sort of went to his head a little bit, where I'm the manager, I'm the player, I'm the captain, I'm everything about this football club. And then he takes himself out to play right wing. He decides in plenty of games, he's decided to decide, you know what, I'm going to go and play as a centre forward. He doesn't tell anybody. He just decides to he's a maverick. He's a maverick
I don't mind
player.
that, Sean. I don't mind that every now and then, but I think we've all seen the clip now.
You have to get back though, right?
Right. And that's not the first time. I remember loads of occasions last year. Like, do you remember last year there was an occasion when we were playing Newcastle away, and they just wandered through our back line. Romero, I'm being polite, Sean, calling it a jog when he was jogging back. He was sauntering back. And then, but then everyone goes, oh, Romero, top player with a different manager. I'll have a day off. This guy, I'm going to say it. I'll get stick for it. I don't care. This guy, I've seen enough of him. 5 years, I've seen enough. This guy, on his day, excellent. How many days does he have? Not enough for me. I think he is part of the losing mentality that's been created here. So is Porro. So is Bentancur. So is Bissouma. So is Richie. These players that have been here for 4 or 5 years, they are part of this team that is used to losing every week. Get them out, refresh, get some new bodies in, fresh bodies, go and get some grown-ups. Stop buying children. Go and get some grown-ups that go straight into that team. And for me, I know this isn't realistic.
No nonsense players, non-flair players. I don't want, we're not in the play. This is the point I was making earlier, right? And I genuinely mean this. Big up to you, Johnny, for joining. I thought I was done with you for 3 weeks, mate. I thought we were done.
He was celebrating. He was doing the dance of the 12 virgins.
No, I ain't joking. Great to have you back on. The point I was making earlier, right? We have a lot of debates, and I agree with Sava. I hear Sava saying it all the time, and I say the same thing. You look at Murillo, you look at Milenkovic, okay? One of the best centre-back pairings, aerially, certainly, right? They're solid, no nonsense. Neco Williams never gets the credit. People talk about, how good Jed Spence is for being a right-back that can play left-back. Neco Williams is a right-back, can play left-back for Forest, and makes far fewer mistakes and contributes far more than Jed Spence does, in my opinion, in a team that struggles just as much. Yet, Neco Williams doesn't get any of the plaudits. No one talks about Neco Williams as a good player. He's a very good player. And Ollie Aina, he was a free transfer available in the summer, and no one wanted him, and he re-signed for Forest, right? I'm just a solid back four in the right system. However, if you were a Real Madrid fan and you were asked, would you rather have Romero or Van der Ven or both, or would you rather have Murillo and Milenkovic, you'd pick those two because it's a horses for courses conversation. Van der Ven in a high-line, high-possession team is going to be a better utilisation of what they need than what Murillo is. At Tottenham, where Tottenham are at, Murillo for me over Van der Ven all day long. and arguably Milenkovic for where we're at right now over Romero. Or
Do you know what though, Sean?
if you look, one second, John, just really finish
right,
quick point. If Tottenham are going to lose, whether we stay up or go down, Romero does need to go in the summer. I'm more than happy to see the back of him. I'm more than happy to see Micky van der Ven leave. And they'll go on to have great careers playing for teams that will utilize them in the way that they need to utilize. And then people will say, well, you wanted them gone, but look how well they've done at those teams. It's a horses for courses environment. For me, Tottenham right now needs sensible, quality, but stable players, not people that are above their station. You don't need Micky van der Ven in Tottenham if you're going to play a low block or a mid block. He's only going to be excelling in his own career if he plays for a high possession team with a high line.
Barcelona
Barcelona
is made for Micky van der Ven.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And Romero will thrive in an environment where he's got like unbelievable champions around him that can allow his flair to be like to be utilized, but also his mistakes to be suppressed. At Tottenham, that ain't it. So you can
what's interesting?
Van Hecker, go and get me a Senesi from Bournemouth, go and get me those type of centre backs, the half of the price that you're gonna get for the other two, and Tottenham will be better off for it. Sorry, Johnny, I know you wanted to come in.
No, I was just going to say, the funny thing is, we all went on about, why are you putting balls into the box when you've got Murillo and Milenkovic and all the rest of it. The funny thing is, their stats at set pieces and corners, Forest, is shocking. Yet we couldn't even, make the most of it. I think what Savu was saying was quite relevant, to be honest with you, which was, it's not that these players are bad players. What they are a, I don't want to use the word cancer. They're a bad egg. They are a bad bug that sits in the environment, sits in the dressing room. And when the new people come in, they just adopt and behave in the same, adopt the same manner as followed by Cuti Romero, the lack of respect. Same with Micky van der Ven. I mean, our leadership group is Micky van der Ven, Vicario, Cuti Romero. I mean, they're not leading by example at all. And therefore, I would rather they left and we brought in new players who don't understand this shit cult and culture that we have, that we have adopted in a club. And it just seems the next one in suddenly becomes just as bad. I mean, listen, Conor Gallagher is not a world-class player, but Conor Gallagher and the rest of them that have all come in seem to have, resumed the sort of behaviour reserved for our other players. Shit attitude, poor attitude. And I just think getting rid of them...
I'm just going to shoot for a few minutes. Sav, I'm going to tell you that the fans have never booed the players as much as they have this season. Home and away.
What about last season? There was a lot.
No. Just picking up. Sav said that the fans think the players are pretty good. Believe me, you go to a match, they think they're absolute shit.
Hang on, but I'm not just talking. You say that.
Social media is very different to the fans in the grounds.
Lubo, again, I didn't mention social media. Listen, by the way, can we stop doing this social media fans to fans? Everyone's a fan. Whether they're sitting on a computer or they're at the game, with the same fans. If I go to the game, am I no longer a YouTube creator?
No, but there's a slight difference in the how do I say this? I think that we're all fans, but you can tell that there's a difference. Like if the online fans represented the real life fans that go to the games, there'd be 50,000 people.
I know what he means. I know what he means.
I get it, but when Lubo's telling me now suddenly the fans don't rate these players, they're booing them. Hang on, this is half the problem. Every time you speak to someone, right? I know it's probably changed the last 3 months. The last 3 months, I think, has done a lot of things to a lot of people's opinions and a lot of people's mindsets because we're a mess. But I see so many. Romero's great. Van der Ven's great. These are not great players. The problem is that we're judging them off what we had before. So before Van der Ven and Romero, we had Dyer and Sanchez, right? So the problem is everyone's not gone, oh, that's an upgrade. We've gone, oh, my God, these are amazing. They're not. It's like we had Winks and Sissoko. So then when you bring in a Bentancur, he's going to look world-class because we had Winks and Sissoko.
They made a difference, though, Sava. They did make a difference. Benton, and Kulu did make a fundamental difference.
I'm not arguing
what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Johnny, I'm not arguing they're bad players. I'm not arguing that they are bad players. My point is that too many of these are put on that pedestal, Johnny. Way too, put on that pedestal. And it used to be that players had to have a season of being good, like game in, game out, 2 years of being good, game in, game out. Now players have to have 2 good games back to back, and fans go, "Oh my God, this guy, Barca are going to want him, and so is going to want him."
Yeah, but a lot of those teams will. Before I bring Danny in, let me just bring back Kate and Jimbo, because since everyone.
Hi, Kate and Jimbo. By the way, sorry,
Hi,
I didn't get a chance to say it.
Hi, Kate and Jimbo.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, everybody.
It's like the Brady Bunch in here.
This is
Hi, Jimbo. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Jimbo.
Let me ask you this, Jimbo. I'll start with you. I'll come to Kate. To Sava's point, right? And I think that Sava does make a great point, right? That we're starved of top quality. We don't remember what top quality looks like, and so when we bring in players that are better than what we have, we think we put them on a pedestal. It's an absolute fair point, 100%. At the same time, though, I do think that I've made this argument. I've asked people to kind of correct me if I'm wrong on this, that I don't think there's that many players that will leave us if we get relegated that will go to a team that is of the similar standard to where Tottenham are right now. I think most of those players that will want to leave will be able to find a bid from a team that is a traditional Champions League regular. And so it's not so much that Romero or Van der Ven aren't great players. It's just whether, or players like Pedro Porro. Everyone thinks Pedro Porro is suddenly a dog shit player. He isn't a dog shit player. He's just not a good player for what we're trying to do and the system and how we operate. I'm not making the same argument for Archie Gray or Pape Sarr or Conor Gallagher necessarily, but like the specific players within the team, they are going to get a bid from teams that are levels above where Tottenham are, and so they're not. It's not that they're not good players, but I still take Sava's point that we do place players on pedestals like Bentancur. We think Bentancur is missing. Bentancur is a fucking nightmare. I don't rate Bentancur, but relative to what we currently have, Bentancur does look like a top draw player, but Bentancur wouldn't get into a top team. Is that fair? Do you understand the point I'm making, Jimbo?
I think he'll do well in the World Cup. In the World Cup,
Johnny. Sorry, Johnny. Sorry, Johnny. Let Jimbo and Kate have a go. Sorry, Jim.
Look, at the end of the day, right, everybody's just got to look. You haven't got to know a lot about football, right, to look at the league table last season, 17th, and look at the league table this season, 17th, to tell you where these players are in the food chain, right? They're not up there. Because, look, the other day, when Morgan Gibbs-White scored, right, there wasn't one player within 4 yards of him. Sarr was marking him, and he ran off away from him, right? And it just tells you where these players are in the food chain. They're not good enough. You know, you can't keep leaking goals if you're a good defender. I'm sorry, you can't. You know, they're all over the place. They're just all over the place game after game. So for me, they're not top players. I'm sorry, they're not.
Kate, will these players go on to have better careers after Tottenham?
Look, I always look at our players and think, what team in the top 10 takes Sarr, you know, there may be one or two. I've heard some Liverpool fans say they'd take Van der Ven. I've heard some Liverpool fans say they wouldn't touch him with a barge pole because all he's got is pace. It seems that when players leave us, they do go on and do better. But I think the trouble with Tottenham, there's just no, I've been saying it ever since Poch left. There's been no consistency, is there? We change managers as often as, you know, we change our drawers after time. There's just managers
being rude again.
You know, the thing is, it's like you've got rid of.
How often do you change your underwear, Kate? Doesn't
Not
sound
often, because you don't wear them.
Twice a season.
Hang on, 15 times. You only changed them 15 times in 15 years.
I couldn't think of another analogy. That was the first one that came in my head.
It'll work. Yeah.
You know, you went from the likes of Poch, who likes to play the Tottenham way and be attacking, to go to someone who's really pragmatic, like Jose Mourinho. We've had Conte. Then we go back to like an Ange who's all gung ho. There's no consistency, and we've got this team made up of mishmashes from different managers wanting this player for this style and this player for this style. And, you know, it's a shambles. In an ideal world, I'd like to get rid of them all and start again with a manager that we're going to back and stick with for a long period of time.
Kate, can I ask you a question about what you've been saying? Because, see, I agree with Sean. And Sean and I have this conversation quite a lot. See, my theory is that I don't think all the players are terrible. I think that how the squad has been put together is terrible. Exactly. So I've got no doubt that you could take Pedro Porro out of Spurs, put him into Barcelona, for example, who are a team that have 60, 70% of the ball, and you go, there you go. Yeah. Like Trent Alexander-Arnold, he worked at Liverpool because of how they played.
Yeah, but he's not going to work at Burnley, is he? He's
not going to work at Burnley, and that's my point. There will be players, Kate, that I think go to big clubs, and we'll go, you didn't want him. But at Spurs, none of them have been actually bought for a style. Like we don't have a single fullback at the football club. Name me one fullback who's an actual fullback. Jenny Spence started as a wingback. Right.
This is why when I heard I can't remember what show it was on, but there was a conversation about goals and philosophies, and whether philosophy comes before your goals or your goals come before your philosophy.
That was Tel.
Yeah, right. Well, for me, you've got to have a philosophy at the club, right? And if we say we're going to be like a Pochettino style and play, you know, attacking football, then you buy players for that style. And then when you get another manager, you don't go and get a pragmatic manager. You go and get another manager who plays that style, so they slot into the team and can manage those type of players. But Tottenham have done completely the opposite, and they chopped and changed. And that's why I think this squad is just made up of so many different players playing so many different styles, and it's ended up being an absolute shambles. So, yeah, I do think some of them will go and will have wonderful careers. Like you say, Barcelona and Micky van der Ven is a match made in heaven. And
Barcelona, cash-strapped Barcelona right now are looking at Tottenham, and they are rubbing their hands and wishing for Tottenham's relegation more than West Ham are, more than Arsenal are, more than Chelsea are, more than any other team. They want to come and cherry-pick some of the players that we've got because they'll fit that system, not the one we've got. Before I come back to anyone else, and welcome Rain, welcome Danny into the chat. Johnny, I know you wanted to say something as well. I'll come to you first. Let me just, there's a few super chats. I haven't done any today yet at all. First of all, big up to Drewski. He put this in before the show even started. He said, big up Sean, chat. Don't forget to smash like, subscribe, bell, and hype the channel. Big up to you, Drew. Appreciate you, mate. Love you, man. I miss you, man. And we'll speak to you soon. Remember, for 33 months, what a loyal geezer you are, bro. Love you to pieces. And Shudini has also got this super sticker train off and running. Choo-choo to you, mate. Choo-choo to you, Dino. Always here. Always supporting as well. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, mate. And a user says, Levy wasn't perfect, but he built the club up. Easy to blame him as he was the single face of Spurs. Enoch has always been the culprit. It's now showing. Yeah, that's the only point I ever made. Not that anyone was perfect, but some people weren't as bad as the devil they were made out to be. Big up to you, a user. Appreciate you, man. As always, man. Always defending Daniel Levy like me, my man. Big up to you. Big up to you. Johnny, you wanted to come back in and say something super quick, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, no, I was just to say that, you know, when you look at, you know, if you look at Crystal Palace, for example, when Oliver Glasner came in, you had players like Mateta who couldn't hit a barn door. You had other Ismail Sarr who's, you know, seemed to be going nowhere in his career. And, you know, they looked like square pegs in round holes. They didn't look like they had anything to offer the club. And a lot of people were saying, well, they'll be gone. And it was quite the opposite. And I think top managers can understand when they see a player, their best attributes and get the best out of them. But there will be, like I said, so there's a mix. Sort of saying with Kate, get rid of them all. I would definitely get rid of quite a few of them. But I do think that there are players there with the right manager, gets them in the right position and playing the right football and can be, you know, top players. But I just think the influence of the senior players and the leadership group is so bad that young kids just follow, you know, as a young kid going into a group like that, you're not going to upset the apple cart. You're not going to challenge them on everything that's going on. And therefore, you just adopt the same mannerisms and the same attitude as they do. And so I haven't lost all hope with all of the players, but because I do think with a top manager, and I don't think any of these have been top managers, and that includes Ange. Sorry.
Which top manager are you getting though, Johnny? Like
No,
realistically,
no,
what top manager is touching
no,
this mess?
No one is touching us right now, mate. No one. Absolutely no one. I'm not under any illusion. What I'm saying is, if by some miracle the Premier League follow through and they give Manchester City the points deduction that they should, then Sean and I talked about it before. Then we will be saved by the skin of our teeth. The only problem is then they will go to the court of arbitration and we'll be sat in there saying, are we relegated or are we saved? You can drag on for ages. But I think if we are saved, either by Man City or by our own endeavours, then we have got a clean sheet, Sav. And I do think that if there is proper money available and there is a proper coach, whether it's Pochettino or whether it's an Iriola or whoever, I'd like to think if we do clear out, I would still sell those players even if we stay in the Premier League. Personally, I think we've got a chance.
You know who was a massive miss in January? You talk about leadership group and the wrong mentality and the young kids following and not wanting to put a foot out of line. It's a shame we didn't get Andy Robertson.
Yeah.
Because he would have come in with a professional.
Yeah, he would have added a lot.
Yeah, but it's hard to come in. It's hard to come in, Lubo, and start throwing your weight around when you've been there 5 minutes.
No, but not just that. Just like I think, like the fact there were games when you had Sousa. I mean, everyone wants to give Sousa like the benefit of the doubt. I'm more than happy to do so, but the people that were like remarkably confident and optimistic on. I'm someone who's a glass half full guy, but like I didn't see anything from Sousa. I'll be entirely honest. And the people in my chat going, Sean, like Sousa was really good today. And I'm not someone. If someone does well, I'm not usually. I'm pump the guy up and go, yeah, he did better, he did well. But I didn't see anything from.
Come on, he's 19, mate. 19. He's just come.
I know, but that's the point I'm making, right? Like if we're gonna give that, that's why I'm saying Robertson coming in for me would have provided the right balance. He would have been the first time we have, to Sava's point, an actual fullback that's playing with balance with a left foot in a left-footed fullback position. Sousa wasn't ready. He isn't ready. I'm not. It's not his fault. He's not ready. Jed Spence playing left back. I think I think Jed Spence completely unbalances our team on the left, but we have no one else to go with. Yep. Like that's my point to Lubo's point. Robertson would, not just for his leadership and all that bollocks, but like just for the ability to play left back as a left back. I think we've missed that for so long.
Sure. We miss Højbjerg. It's Højbjerg that we miss.
And Udogie. By the way, Udogie is a shadow of the guy that we saw 2 years ago.
So you say leadership and all that. But what actually is funny? It's come straight to where I wanted to come. I've got a bit of a cold, by the way. It's come straight into. Sorry.
Sexy.
Careful. If Kate was wearing underwear, it'd be falling down, but she's not. So it don't matter.
It's coming exactly where I wanted to come in. Which is we're not talking about it anymore, but we're the club, not just the team, but the club, the whole club just lacks any form of leadership from top to bottom. You can see it in the way that we're stumbling around. We stumbled into getting rid of Frank and getting Tudor, and now we're stumbling around. Luke last night when I was on with Luke and Adrian and he said, what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks? And I said, 2 things, silence and speculation. Silence from the club and speculation from everyone else. Because there's no real leadership. There's no real drive from anybody off the pitch. And there's no drive or leadership on the pitch. The biggest thing for me in how we performed and why we performed the way we have is because we keep on making mistakes. And we're making mistakes and we're not fixing them. There's nobody in the team getting hold of each other and going, let's stop making these stupid mistakes. How many goals have we seen where a player picks it up in the D of our penalty area completely unmarked and passes it into our net because he's got complete free room? Why is nobody on the pitch? Forget the coach. Why is Romero this elite centre back, not going. That's a problem. We need to stop. We need to stop that continually happening. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little look.
He's not a leader, Rain. He's not a leader. That's the problem.
Exactly. We've
Not-
got a complete dearth of leadership. And do you know what it feels like to me? Anytime anyone in our club tries to put their hand up and be a leader, they get hounded out. Joy Bear tried to do it, got hounded out.
Hey, Hoybier didn't get hounded out. What are we doing here?
It didn't. It wasn't welcome.
What do you mean?
Who's that? Hoybier? Did you say?
Yeah,
no, he got a lot of sticks.
It was commercial to take advantage of the last 20 million that was in his contract. That wasn't hounded out. He was wildly well received.
He got a lot of sticks, Sean. He's finished. He's too slow. He can't play. Well, Ange, because he didn't fit Ange's system.
A lot of fans. And a lot of fans.
Within the football, are we?
I'm just saying from a
if we, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. If we are suggesting that managers of our football club and the board overall are listening to the whims of our fan base, then it's worse than I ever thought. And what evidence is there to suggest?
Maybe they should listen to us, Sean.
Should they? I don't know, but the fans change their fucking mind every 5 minutes, Saba. To your point, right? Whichever way the wind is going.
Look, I said it to you before and I'll say it again, right? I believe there are players here that get a knock and ain't interested in playing. I said it this morning, right? You've got Ekitike, right? Oh, he's gone off after 8 minutes, can't play anymore. He's goes down the tunnel in tears and he's playing 65 bloody minutes. 65 minutes for France. 3 days afterwards, right? I don't believe, I believe that, someone like Hoybier is an example to everyone else. I'm not saying he wasn't slow. I wasn't saying he was a perfect player, but I'm talking about his mentality, a winner's mentality. He was a warrior. He went out there. He could have half his arm hanging off and he would still be out there giving it all. And we look at these players here, they get a knock. Oh, I don't know if I can carry on. I worry that that's a lot of the players that we've got in our team are the too weak minded, and some of them have got their eyes focused on the World Cup. Micky van de Ven, we were told, came off. He had a knock at half time. Hasn't stopped him going to
Johnny,
the Holland camp.
What about Dominic Solanke with a sore throat, mate? I mean, that's a proper injury, that.
Oh yeah, proper injury, or he's got a cold. But Gallagher,
Rain's got a sore throat, and here he is. Oh, here he is.
Gallagher's the perfect example.
Gallagher never missed a game. Oh, hang on. Everyone else is crying off sick. I'm going to say, I might as well go as well. I'm just saying, we were told Jed Spence.
It's a bit harsh.
No, I'm just saying to you that, these players, I don't believe these players are battle hardened and ready to go into the trenches at all. And this is why I have a serious problem with it. And,
Johnny, I agree with you. We should all.
There's not just one rain, right? There's not just one rain. There's actually two rains, right? I've got a sore throat too, but at the end of the day, right? If Dom Solanke can't turn up, then why is it that two of us can turn up? I don't think it's right?
Hi guys.
Sorry, Sam. Carry on, mate. I had to jump in there.
I was just saying.
That's even worse than Drew doing the Mickey.
I'm a data guy, right? Anyway, I haven't got a sore throat. Sorry, go on. Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say. For years there were a lot of players that weren't the greatest players, but we knew their attitude was right. So, for example, hear me out, right? So there were a lot of players. Whether they should have been at the club still or not is not my point to this. Before everyone in the chat says, "Oh, Sava loved this player," no. But Højbjerg, listen, I was never his biggest fan, but you knew what you were getting, right? You knew what you were getting. Eric Dyer, right? Whether you rate him as a player, Eric Dyer would fight for the cause. We know that. I'm not saying he's great, but he'd fight. Lloris was another one. Dyer, Lloris, Højbjerg. when that all started to break up, right? Everyone was going, get the deadwood out of here. The problem is you've replaced that deadwood with lots of square pegs for round holes.
Also wood.
No leaders. And the problem is every window, when you're going and bringing in loads and loads of kids, now, whether or not loads of kids are starting, we're buying loads of kids, whether they're in the first team or being loaned out. The problem is they've got no one to learn from. And the conversation can't every 5 minutes be, but they're young. Well, stop buying the younger players then, right? Bring in men. If you're going to bring in young players, that's what you're going to get. They're not going to be mentally ready. But Tottenham Hotspur are in a position right now where we're in a battle, and who are the men going into fight? And what frustrated me, Sean, about Sunday, you're looking at who are the warriors, who are the men that have been there, seen it, done it, who are the battlers, right? You're looking at Paulinho, bench. Yeah. Conor Gallagher's been there with Crystal Palace and is a captain, bench. Right? I'm looking at it going, what are you doing? Like, this is no longer about Sean.
Is just quickly. Let me just quickly. Is he Igor Tudor? And this is why I 100% agree with those people that said Igor Tudor doesn't know fuck all about the Premier League, and therefore people that say we need someone who understands. I don't extend it to we need someone who understands the football club, because the people that are in the football club right now don't know the football club. So fuck all that bollocks about Tim Sherwood. But in terms of Premier League experience as a manager, I don't think that Igor Tudor fucking realised that the one thing that you don't do against Nottingham Forest is lump balls into the box and expect good outcomes. Like, you clearly don't know Nottingham Forest that well if you think that the one thing that you can do to try to cause attacks is to go via the air. You're going to lose every time, 100%. So just to your point specifically, Sam, I'll let you come back in. With regards not Igor Tudor's decision-making, I don't think he knows these players. I don't think he knows the Premier League. And I think he's basing it on what Archie Gray and Pape Sarr did relatively well against Madrid, did relatively well against Liverpool. Therefore, I consider them the people that are on the boat versus those that are not on the boat, or whatever you want to call it. And so he's stuck with what he thinks is working. But ultimately, you're right that the people that should have been in that pitch on that day were the battlers, the leaders, the champions, and the fighters. And to some extent, there's not enough of a sample size for Archie Gray to know if he's that guy. And the same
Sean, what I don't get is if you're going into a game, I think everyone on this panel, whether we disagree on other stuff, we all agree that the Nottingham Forest game was absolutely massive, right? Yeah. That's the game that could have taken us 4 points clear, and we're all sitting here having a very different conversation, right? If we win that game. And Igor Tudor goes into that game, leaves out his senior midfielders who are both fit. He puts them on the bench, right? He leaves out the only creative footballer the only creative footballer right now at Tottenham Hotspur, whatever you think of him, is Xavi Simons, and he leaves him out. And you're looking at it going, what are you doing? Like, this is no longer about, they played well against Atletico. This isn't Atletico. This is a dogfight. This is a team that are going to batten down the hatches. This is a team that the back four will sit as a back four and fight for their lives. This is a team with Sangare and Anderson, who are big, strong, powerful midfielders that love the fight. And we go into it with Gray and Sarr as centre mids. That alone, that one decision, he should be sacked for. 2 against 3, and you've put your 2 most frail centre mids in the battle with Sangare.
He didn't know who he was up against, did he, Sava? He had no idea who he was up against.
No,
none. Otherwise,
we all knew, Johnny. We knew what midfield 3 Forest were going to play. Look at Gibbs White. He drops in, powerful. Sangare, powerful. We put in 2 skinny. They run around a lot. They work hard, but they're skinny. They can't fight.
In the first half, I think we won the midfield battle.
I can't disagree more. I thought Anderson absolutely
I disagree with that. I think every time Nottingham Forest got the ball and cleared it up the field, I think we won the midfield battle and recycled it in the first half. Second half, different story. I agree with you. First half, I just from my eyes, from what I saw on the day, I disagree.
Sean, I think you look at all the news about Tudor before he joined was that he goes into clubs. He's been into Spain, into Italy, into Turkey, and he firefights. And with the benefit, I didn't know anything about Tudor. I'd obviously I knew he was a good centre half, but in terms of being a manager, I don't follow European football as much as a lot of the guys on here do. So I didn't really know, but I'd heard that he was successful in the short term firefighting, and it's been a disaster. And you just look at it, and you just look at the leagues that he has managed in, and you look at this league, and it ties in also with the Forest game. None of those leagues play with the intensity that the Premier League do. So he sets up his three at the back in Italy, where a lot of the teams play three at the back. They don't here. It's much slower football. You got a chance to you're more structured over there. That's how they play. Here, for some reason, we're not structured, but we're not geared up. His style of management is not geared up to the intensity of the Premier League, and I think he is. And I think that's one of the main reasons.
I don't think
he's
the Premier League.
And he hasn't done his homework, Sean. He's not done his homework. For me, he should have looked at every video.
But Lubo, the argument that
and how they concede and how they score, and got an idea of how they play, and he didn't do. Obviously, didn't do anything.
That's where my frustration is, because the argument that managers that have no Premier League experience always struggle in the Premier League, it's false. Right? There's loads of managers that come into the Premier League without any Premier League experience, and they get it done. So like we can't just sit there and write.
But he was last minute though, Sean. He was lastminute.com because of the
I know, but there's certain people, like Eugene's one of them, who like will write off anybody that's ever not played in the Premier League and say, like they're not good enough for the top.
Everyone from France is shit.
Exactly, all that stuff. Right? It's bollocks. Like Ray and Cherky didn't exactly struggle, right? He took a little bit of time to acclimate, but now he's one of the best midfield. And Florian Wirtz has proven to become a player that's emerging, right? But like. And that's just this season. There's countless examples of zero experience doesn't preclude you from doing well in the Premier League, and that extends to managers as well.
I think Pep
Guardiola comes to the Premier League without any Premier League experience and smashes it out of the park, right? Like it's never ending. So this narrative of like no Premier League experience doesn't mean that you're going to fail, but no ability to do your homework on the minutiae who you're playing against. That to me is where I think Igor Tudor's come across a little bit. To me, like a little bit lazy. Like even when he's in press conferences and he said, "Oh, I think Ali Gold said to him, well, when are you expecting Maddison back? When are you get any news on Dejan Kulusevski?" And he's like, "I don't know." But that comes across to me like someone who's picking up a fucking paycheck and he's not really that invested in the job.
And they've also
analysts. He's got a team of analysts there that could put together a whole film of each individual opposition. Going the way through the season. Outlook.
Are they looking at it? We know Ange Postecoglou never looked at any of that.
Some of them have left, by the way. Some of them have left. So just thought.
But you've got to think as well, right? That he's coming with how many games was there left?
12
games. He hasn't got time to come in and settle everyone. He needs to hit the ground running. And it was a bad appointment because this guy was never going to hit the ground running, especially with Arsenal first and then Fulham away. You know,
you don't even need a room full of analysts who are going to do videos for him. Any one of us here could give him a 5-minute précis of how Forest are going to play. Any one of us here could go.
I would hope that any manager of Tottenham Hotspur would know that shit more than we do.
But even we could do it, is what I'm saying, right? Even we could. It doesn't. What it tells me, and you can see it from his press conferences, is Tudor knows what he wants to do, and I don't think he's listening to anybody else. I don't think he's. I think he's the type of guy he's not going to listen to anybody else.
Can I ask you guys a question? Right. So like Igor Tudor, obviously, God rest his father's soul. Horrendous grief that the guy's going through. I've got no idea of the circumstances, whether it was expected or otherwise. But either way, like the worst distraction that Tottenham Hotspur could possibly have from a guy that hasn't exactly proven to be that valuable when he is focused. So, I know we spoke about this at the start, but does anyone here believe the Pochettino story today? That there's that there's a chance that Tottenham could get him out of the USMNT before then?
Can you imagine what Donald? I'm going to have to go, guys, but just quickly before I go, just to say, No. There's no chance. There is no chance that Donald Trump. No. There's no chance that Donald Trump.
No.
No chance.
Johnny,
that
I
Donald
wouldn't
Trump-
want him. I wouldn't want him before the summer.
No, I'm just saying, I just put this to bed, right? He ain't leaving America before the World Cup, right? Okay. You know, we'll end up having ICE would end up turning up on his doorstep, right? You know, it's just not happening. We got to be realistic here. And the truth of the matter is, there is the pot from which to choose. The person to get us out of this problem is minuscule, right? I don't even think Adolf would take this one, and I just think where we are now is an impossible task. I think it's an impossible task. I think the chances of us pulling out are extremely slim, and I would not be shocked. I hope I'm wrong, but I would not be shocked if they leave Tudor in charge.
We pull out all the time, Johnny.
Huh?
We pull out all the time, mate. We can't finish.
No. Oh, it's that's how
Anyone
a lot of
but
people
Frank,
ended
Johnny.
up here.
Anyone but Frank.
What's that?
Anyone but Frank.
Anyone but Frank. Listen, I
Right.
got Frank wrong. I don't have a problem.
But they didn't
I was
mean
the
Johnny.
only-
They didn't actually mean anyone but Frank, did they?
Do you know
What
how
they
many
mean is-
people were slating me for my I wanted Frank to stay takes? Everyone was slating me. I said,
Hey, you are full of shit. Why you not one of me? Why don't you want of me? I'm waiting for the money. I just need a relegation clause. Hey, don't fucking piss me off. Danny, I'm fucking coming for you. I throttle you, you prick. You fucking prick. You don't want to tell you what don't want to deserve me? What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you?
I mean, who's likely? Who's really likely here? I mean, that's the worry. I was thinking last night, I couldn't get to sleep. And I'm thinking, like, cut all the crap. Who is realistic? You know, Harry,
Bring Frank
which
back.
we said the other day, even if you got Harry probably 2 days later will forget he got appointed, you know, and start telling people he's interested in the job. And you know, shooting.
Oh, God.
I mean, we're in fantasy land. Sherwood
Do
hasn't
you know what,
managed in years.
Johnny? I think Harry Redknapp, like for me personally, I just want him back just for vibes. That is it. Like literally for vibes. Right now, what this situation is at this club, I just want something that's going to bring you a little bit of something, right? Because that's what I think Harry Redknapp would give the fans.
Stronger. You want me back?
I want you back, Thomas.
Hey, look, you know, better, faster. We work harder. You want me back?
I want you back, Tommy. Tommy boy.
He's been feasting since he's been away. Now he looks like I can't actually focus.
He's had too many of those Danish pastries.
Guys, I'm going to have to shoot. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Have a good one, and I hope by the time I land, we know one way or the other. You see, just to agree with what Rain said before, which was because the club doesn't talk and doesn't communicate, we are left. Well, the press, TV, radio, Talk Sport, and they fill that void with garbage and crap, with false reporting, and us fan base and the YouTube, we feed off of that because we're looking for a crumb of information. You know, 1 minute is Adolf, next minute is De Zerbi, and one by one, they're cutting off. And, you know, it's left us in a situation we shouldn't be in. We should have clarity. The players need clarity, and we have none. So we are the feeding frenzy. They're swooping down. They're pecking at us to their heart's content until we go. So I hope very soon we have some clarity. Tudor's staying, Tudor's going, and this is what's going to happen. We need to know, and we need to know soon.
Have a good trip, mate.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
And all the time, it feels to us Spurs fans as though I've been cut off. All right. And it feels to us Spurs fans as though we're getting rejected left, right, and centre. Right? When I don't think I don't think they're actually talking to De Zerbi. I don't think that all of this stuff is happening. I think they're blundering around. They don't know what they're doing, and I just like when it took them probably 2 or 3 months to get rid of Frank. I reckon it's going to take them another couple of months.
I disagree, Rain. I disagree. I think they are talking to people. I think, look, as much as we hate the owners, right, or most of us hate the owners and hate how they operate, right, they're still going to be talking to people. The fact that they're going to be speaking to so many different people is because they don't know what they're doing and they don't have a plan, right? So when I see people like that say, you know, like all these journalists have lied, I don't think they're lying. I think the problem is Tottenham Hotspur are talking to everyone because we don't have a plan and we probably are getting rejected left, right, and centre. How many people right now, and again, this is if you remove your Spurs hats, right? Look at this from the outside in. Who is picking up the phone to Tottenham right now and going, that's a great idea for me? We're seeing today that what's his name? Dougie Friedman has rejected Spurs. Of course, Dougie Friedman's a very good guy. He's going to look at Spurs and go, why? Why am I going to that mess? Like, what am I going there for? I've got to start again, right? They might get relegated. I'm not committing to that. I don't know what budget. Look at the last couple of directors of football. They all ate Paratici. They all ate Lang. Managers are going to look and say, look at what happened to Conte. Look at what happened to Jose. Look what happened to Ange, to Frank. We've got to realise that we, year by year, right, we are shutting doors and avenues, right? We are shutting doors and avenues to so many people. And that's why we say they haven't got a plan, but we are not an attractive proposition. And just to round off to what Sean said earlier, I wouldn't want Poch back before the end of the summer, Sean, because Pochettino, for as much as people love him, notoriously at every club Pochettino's been at, he's taken months to get going. When he went to Southampton, they took ages. Spurs, he took ages. PSG and at Chelsea. This isn't a guy you bring in to fix a relegation battle. And that is the same for De Zerbi. So I don't want De Zerbi now. I don't want Poch now. This has got to be
there's absolutely zero time for any manager to come in now to implement their strategy.
Exactly.
Least of all managers that want to play a certain way that we haven't got the players for. Like, all you need right now is a guy that can find the right words in the right order. And I understand why it is that Jimbo was pushing the Ange narrative. For me, it can't be Ange. It can't be Ange, but someone that has the sort of the kind of charisma that's not Ange, whatever that person is. And that's why I lean towards, as much as I'm terrified, I think it's a fucking ridiculously wild take. Like, if someone else was saying this normally, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. But I'm on that page right now. I genuinely think it might be Harry Redknapp. Is the only.
You're a fucking idiot.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much, Kate. Appreciate
it.
At least I'm not dirty, girl. Change your underwear more often. Fucking hell.
She ain't got none on, mate.
That's what we heard earlier.
It's all Gimbo. It's all Gimbo's fault.
Gimbo, what's going on there?
I honestly don't understand why everyone's so against Ange, because I just think he knows the players. They know him. He would.
We need to stop
conceding goals, Jimbo.
Yeah, but look. You got to remember that in the first season we was up in fifth. He knows. He
had playing for Jimbo. Look who you had playing for you then. You had Son, you had Maddison, you had Kulusevski. Last season, you had Johnson.
Look, he knows these players. He would know what he would have to do. Right, he knows he couldn't go.
Jimbo, sorry, whatever.
Who else is there?
Hang on, but Jimbo, hang on. Don't conflate two arguments. The argument of who is there versus Ange can do the job are two very different things.
Well, I just think, what other manager's going to come in and know these players like Ange knows them?
No, but Jimbo, Ange knew these players last year when he lost 22 games of football, right? We can say someone who knows these players. It needs someone to come in.
Who?
Mate, The time to get it right was when they bought Tudor.
No, I hear you.
Right.
But it's easy to say because I'm doing the same thing. I'm saying no
Sure.
to this guy, no to De Zerbi, no to Poch
Sure.
right now, no to Tim Sherwood, no to the.
I would take Tim. See the difference between me and you. I would take Tim Sherwood.
You take Tim
I-
Sherwood. Okay,
I would take Tim Sherwood because he's got experience of keeping Aston Villa up when he went there, right? When he took the Spurs job and we were in a bit of a mess, he actually had a very good ratio of points.
59% win rate.
50, he had a huge win rate percentage. And also, if you Michael Dawson said last week or 2 weeks ago on Sky Sports News, he said he was in the changing room when Tim Sherwood was manager of Spurs. And he said he came in and he just put his arm around people and he said he made them feel good. And he told them they were good players. And he said he took it back to basics. He's not my number one, Sean.
Who is your
right
number
now,
one? Who would be your number one right now? That's the
no
question.
idea. But, no, Sean, no idea, but it can't be Ange.
I'm not putting. I agree. But I'm not.
Cannot
I'm
be that
not
man.
trying to put you on a hot plate here because
No,
I'm
I get
sitting
it.
there. I'm finding it very easy to say no. But I'm finding it very difficult to find a yes.
Sean, that's because we've burned all bridges, right? And we are 7 games to the end of the season. The manager that comes in is either going to be an absolute hero with the Spurs with the Spurs fans forever. If Dyche comes in, let's use Dyche for an example, right? Because he is, whatever we think of him, he is the logical name that is used to that end of the table and that plays basics, right?
Oh, isn't Sam Allardyce as well?
But if Sean Dyche came in, right, if he kept Spurs up, right, forever, we'd wave him off into the sunset, and forever, no one would ever talk about in this fan base about Sean Dyche in a bad manner again. We would all say, thank you for saving us, right? The problem is, if Ange comes back in, right, for me, the problem you've got, Sean, is straight away, it is a manager that half the fan base hated the first time he was here. So this is someone we've got previous with. No one hated Harry when he was here.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I was supporting Spurs when Harry was here that anyone was redneck. Everyone loved Harry.
The sad thing, Saba, especially in the content creator space, egos are going to ego. And I'm one of them, right? I've called out Ange Postecoglou so much, right?
Yeah.
The Australian percentage of my audience has dropped from like 15 to like 3% because I've gone after their boy. If Ange Postecoglou came in, I'd have to kind of get behind it. And if,
of course,
God forbid, he kept us up.
Oh,
can you imagine? In a weird way, right? Like I want us to stay up, but like as a personal position, I would be murdered. It would be crucified.
The only reason I'm saying
I would take it. I'd take the murder. I would take the death by 1,000 cuts of content, offing myself. I won't say the word, but I would take it because I want Tottenham to stay up. But it would be like ego brand suicide for the. I've said the word.
Look, Sean, the only reason I'm saying Ange, right, is because he knows the players know him, right? So straight away, it's easier for the manager, and it's for me. He obviously can get something out of them more than someone who doesn't know.
Lubo, let me finish this point, mate. One second.
Jimbo.
Calm down, Lubo.
The man's halfway through his sentence. Lubo, shut up for a second. The man's halfway through his sentence. You keep saying, Lubo. Let him finish his sentence. He'll bring you in a second. Go on, Jimbo. Finish your sentence.
Look, I'm just thinking to myself, a new manager comes in, doesn't know these players, right? It's going to be hard for him with 7 games left. It's going to be so difficult. And I'm just thinking at least he knows them and they know him. They respect him. They liked him, and they might give that little bit more for him.
Isn't he part of this losing culture, Jimbo? Isn't he the one that...
you say that he won a European trophy.
Losing culture.
He wanted to look. Savile, I understand what all of you are saying, but I'm just trying to think of someone who could come in and get that little bit more out of them.
I think we can all agree.
We've got evidence that he couldn't.
Hang on. Lubo, I cut Lubo off because Lubo was trying to cut Jimbo off. Lubo, you come in now, and then we can all go around the table from there.
Fine. Well, I'll answer Jimbo, then I'll spin one idea. Firstly, the guy's got to be good enough to do the job, and he plainly isn't. He doesn't know how to defend. He's never known how to defend. That's not the way he coaches, and we are having major problems with leaking goals at the moment. We've got to be able to dig out 1-0 wins because we haven't got prolific goal scorers up front, unfortunately. The second thing is the other person that I mentioned on a show the other day, and I got shot down for it, but to me, he's better than Tudor. He brought the England team together brilliantly after Iceland and got them motoring for 7 games. Would be Gareth.
Don't say it.
Sir Gareth.
Don't say it.
I'm with you, Lubo. Let's do it. Let's start a motion. Sir Gareth.
Sir Gareth.
So are we in the situation where there are literally no stupid suggestions? Is that where we are? there's no such thing as a stupid
Robbie Keane be the answer. Only take us Robbie Keane.
No.
Even if it was on a permanent deal because he was willing to come down.
No.
Sorry, who's Sean?
Robbie Keane.
Lubo would.
I think
Lubo would love it. Robbie Keane is the Archie Gray of the managerial world. That's why.
He is. Listen, I've got to shoot. But how about this for a new leadership group at Spurs for the rest of the season?
Here we go.
Alenia, Gallagher, Danso, and Gray. There you go. I've given it.
Off you go, Lubo. Off you go. You've got errands to run.
Four players that will give you 100% and won't give up. There you go. That's what
about Mathys Tel? What about Mathys Tel then?
What about?
Agendas are going to agenda. Cheers,
Sean. For you, purely for you, put in Mathys Tel. Go on. There you go. That. There's your 5.
You still haven't got my support on your stupid suggestion, but I appreciate the offer there. Well, okay. Lubo, thanks for coming in, mate.
Cheers, guys. Good weekend.
See you, Lubo.
You later, Lubo. At the end of the day, the way we're all talking, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Yes, Jimbo.
Well said. Yeah. I agree.
Jimbo, can I stay at yours? Can I stay at yours and then we go to the Lincoln away game together?
Yeah.
Lincoln away, ole.
Followed by a house party at Kate and Jim's.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I reckon a house party in Kate and Jim's would be epic. By the way, I just got a bit.
You have to leave your keys in a bowl though when you come in. It's just something we do.
You're not going anywhere.
Look at the smirk on Jimbo's face. He's like, well, it's not technically untrue.
Stell's just messaged me, Sean. Stell's just messaged me and basically saying, Saba, can you please tell Sean to stop asking the question? Blah, 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 blah. He said, as I said last night, it's an impossible question to answer because this event has never occurred in the Premier League.
Why doesn't he just come on the fucking show?
I don't know. But look,
in a relegation battle with 7 games left.
It's a difficult one, right? Like I think when you've got 12 games left, you go 36 points to play for. Right? Can we get 10? We'll be all right. Now you've got 7 games to go, and you're going, oh bloody hell! Basically, if West Ham get 9 points from their last 7, I'm not saying they will. If West Ham get 9, we need 9. Whatever West Ham do, we've got a match to stay up. Right? Is that fair enough?
Is it also fair? Stel made a good point on Spurs 5 last night. He said, West Ham play Wolves before we play Sunderland. If West Ham get a result, I'm not sure if West Ham are playing Wolves or at home. I think it might be at home.
It's at West Ham on Friday night. Yeah.
So if West Ham beat Wolves, we will then be 2 points into the relegation battle. What chance do you give these bunch of players to be able to man up and figure it out against Sunderland?
We come back to the problem where there's a complete lack of leadership. If you don't have leadership, then you don't have cohesion. You don't have a team that's going to work together. They'll just fall apart. There's no glue. There's no glue in our team.
Do you expect there to be, whether it's a new manager bounce, do you expect there to be a new manager before Sunderland, guys? Let me ask you that. Is there a new manager going to be at this football club before Sunderland?
Has to be. There simply has to be. If they don't, it is the most negligent act from the club. And this is a club that have broken the world record for the number of negligent acts in a season.
Saba, based on that, that means we are keeping Tudor until after the Sunderland game, and then they sack him.
And that's where I am. That's where I am. I am absolutely in the should Tudor go yes, Tudor should go. Do I think it's going to make a difference? Probably not. But there's a very, very small chance they're getting somebody in who's going to make rational decisions as to who plays where.
Sorry, 1 second, Rain. Before you. Oh, he's gone. I was about to say thank you so much, Jimbo, for coming on. Made his debut on the channel. Absolute legend, Jimbo. Appreciate you, my man. Kate, are you staying with us?
Maybe.
Okay, we'll see where
If
we
you
go.
get your WhatsApp message, I'll know why.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me.
You just shouted out.
Oh
bye-bye.
yeah. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. Good point. Okay, good point. Hang on. Let me go back to the new thing. Hang on a second.
So whilst you sort that out,
Sorry,
should we get rid of him? Yes. Will they get rid of him? It's a very different question. And I think they're going to stumble to the next game, and Tudor's still going to be even technically in charge, even if he isn't in the dugout.
Yeah.
Would
you say it's fair enough, right? If they bring in a manager, let's just say you bring in, I don't care, right? Let's just say you bring in Dyche. Let's say you bring in Redknapp, whoever it is. I can accept us not necessarily winning if I see that the manager's just done the basics right. Like if the manager puts a 4-2-3-1 with right backs at right back, left back at left back, wingers at winger. If the manager goes and does that, we've then got a bit more to turn around and go, this is on the players. You're all in your right positions. You've got a new manager. But if we bring in another new manager and we're seeing left backs at right wing and right wingers at centre half, do you know what I mean? That's all I want to see, Rain. Yeah. That's all I want to see. A manager that does the basics. Yeah. And then we go, right, players, this is on you. Because we've got 20 fit players now. Possibly there's going to be 22 that are fit for the Sunderland game. So the injury excuse is going to dry up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's why people are just pivoting to Redknapp, Sherwood. It's not because they're tactical geniuses who are going to come in and turn water into wine. It's because they're expecting them to come in and go, right, simple. Yeah, simple, basic. I will just say as well, I seem to recall a lot of fans getting very upset with Harry Redknapp and his dalliance with the FA. And
yeah, but nothing about his management, right? Like there was nothing. Harry didn't do anything with his tactics, or he didn't say anything silly where we all thought, what are you doing? He literally just Harry set the team up old school, didn't he? He had a 4-2-3-1. He got the ball out wide to the wingers, get the crosses in, bring the playmaker into play, square pegs, square holes, go out there and give them that 15-20% extra confidence.
Yeah, I would say it was even more simple than that. When we got Van der Vaart, he just let Van der Vaart go out there and play the way that he wanted to play, and the more pragmatic players just had to fit in and around him. Harry Redknapp, when he was in the 90s, 2000s, was one of those managers who knew that you get the right good players on the pitch, and then you fit your jobbers around those players to get the best out of them. And that worked very well for him. Okay. And I think it would do well for us as well, to be honest, right here, right now. And like you saying 4-2-3-1, I'm even like 3 central midfielders, 2 10s and a striker, and just try to
as long as they're in their position, Rain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I heard Sean earlier, and I think he was right. If Kudus is back for the next game, all I want to see is Kudus right, Tel left, Xavi Simons in the 10, Richie or whatever up front. And then I personally want to see Gallagher and Paulinho for their experience as the midfield 2. Now, if a manager does that, I can turn around at the beginning of the game and go, right, fair. Look, you've put everyone in the right place. Players, what have you got? What's your attitude? Right now, though, we started that game against Forest, Rain, and you was in much. You saw me live before the game, and I went, "This is not set up properly. Yeah. This guy's not got the basics right for a 6-pointer, and Vitor Pereira has. So that's all I want to see."
And I'm going to come in on something else, a bit Rain controversial. A lot of people are talking about
Rain controversials.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, Rain! Is it like a little bit like a thunderstorm?
No, data analysis.
Absolutely. This is what I don't think we need more effort from these players. I think in many ways we need less effort and more concentration on just doing the basic job. I think when it's like if you've got a factory worker who's working a widget machine, you don't want him to work harder. You just want him to sometimes slowing down and doing the job a little bit better is the better thing to do. And I think we as fans, want to see effort. We want to see, application. We want to see them running around a lot. But also, we don't want our centre back running all the way up the pitch and then having to run all the way back. Actually, right here, right now, it's just do your bloody job and just do it simple. Maybe calm down a little bit. Don't go and start pulling players back when they're in the box and getting sent off, because that's and getting yourself sent off. Maybe what actually needs to happen is everyone needs to calm the fuck down, yeah, and just we keep on saying it. Go back to basics. Simple.
Yeah, when people say like this is, I'm going to come back to this. I want everyone's opinion on this, because people say go back to basics. I don't know what that means. And when people say things like the culture at the football club has to be fixed, I also don't know what that means. They're like, it's easy. They're easy words to just throw out there, but like the detail of what it means.
Basics, Sean. Come on, the basics. Square pegs, square holes. Have the back four be in a back four, not charging around everywhere. Don't float from a 3 to a 4 during the game. Have wide men out wide that are wide men. Have 2 midfielders that do that job. Have a playmaker that play like basics.
Okay, so what's the base? So the basic left back spot right now should be what? An unfit Destiny Udogie, an untested Souza, or an out of sync Jed Spence. That's a basic position that doesn't have a basic scenario. A right back, Pedro Porro in a back four. Is that a basic back to basics?
Jed Spence is right. Is the closest thing we've got to a right back. Listen, I'm not saying you can have it everywhere, Sean, but that's why. That's the idea.
That's what I mean by it's more complex than people think, right?
I don't think it is. I don't think we all knew
who's the right winger in a basic system right now.
Well, you would put Mohamed Kudus there, wouldn't you? When he's back.
Yeah, but somehow he's not fit right now. So when people have been asking for get back to basics for weeks, I'm saying, who do you play as a right winger right now? And then when we say go back to basics on the left wing, the only option we had there was Mathys Tel, but most people don't rate Mathys Tel. So like I'm asking, like it's the same with the culture conversation. Fix the culture. The culture at Tottenham's horrendous. I agree. What does culture how do you fix the culture? What does that actually mean? It's a little bit more detailed. But
it's not. Every pundit right now is saying, aren't they? You watch, every pundit is saying what Tottenham need to do. Teddy Sheringham said it this morning, right? Danny Murphy said it. Gus Poyet said it. Said, go back to basics. Stop giving the players these formations that don't work for them. Stop giving them duties that aren't their duties. You've got your number 6 in Paulinho who sits in front of the back four. Stick him there. Right, you've got Gallagher, who's a box-to-box midfielder that works hard.
Yeah, those are more simple scenario solutions.
Sure,
there's still the other things that are a bit more complex, though, right?
Well, yes and no.
Yes. So this will be a good conversation. Want to have it? I know Kate wants to leave. Kate, you're going to go get some grub. Some grub. You get some lunch.
Some Gimbo, yeah.
Some Gimbo special.
Coming on, Kate. Guys in the chat.
Also, Sean, I'm going to jump as well, mate. Sorry, I've got a lot of things to do as well. So I'm going to jump to you, mate.
Thanks
so I'll be listening. But yeah. See you later, guys. Take it easy. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. No, mate.
I feel like Danny's been on the show for like an hour and a half and he hasn't actually said anything. All I've heard is his giggle, his laugh. It's brilliant laugh, by the way. Kate, guys in the chat, Kate's and Jim's link is in the title. Please don't neglect it. You know what to do. If you love Kate and Jimbo like we do here, then please smash the title link and then smash the subscribe. Kate, what are you getting for lunch?
You know what? I fancy a bit of meat, but I don't know what. I'm just going to put it out there and let you just use your imagination, and what you come up with is what I'm going to have for lunch.
You know what you do.
Thank you so much, Kate. We
know
love
what
you. We
you
love you over
do.
here. Come on again. We love you. Love you. I'll be back on your show. I'll be on your show next week if you can
Exactly.
find time to squeeze me in. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, always, Shawnee. Thanks for having me and big up everyone. Make sure you're smashing a like for Shawnee. And yeah, if we can get a couple of subs, we're two away from 2,600. So I'm hoping we might hit that today.
Guys, the link is in the
I'll
title,
subscribe.
right? If you're watching this right now,
I'll
just smash
subscribe.
that. Hit the link on the title, and it will take you straight to Kate and Jimbo. Appreciate you, Kate, and thank you, Jimbo, as well. Thanks, guys.
Will do.
Take care.
Cheers.
See you later. We're going to a back three. Just before I do, sorry, Sam. Let me just get these super chats done quickly whilst we're at it. Andrew Bennett says, "Look, can we get Harry or Sherwood to Hotspur away for Monday and roll the dice?" We can. I don't know if they want to. We don't know. We've spoken about this a lot, though. I don't generally know what to make of that. Why they haven't made a decision on it. But big up to you, Andrew. Thank you very much indeed. And a really super generous super chat from Jordan. Big up to you, Jordan. I know you're one of Sava's regulars. Thank you so much, mate. Very, very generous, buddy. He says, it would have been less hassle for this club if they had just given Frank a few loans in January and kept him until the summer. 100%, mate. 100%. Sacking Frank with 12 to go and then giving the job to Dyche with 7 to go just sums us up. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, if you're looking for new managers to come in with a different effort, a different style, the people that are going to come in, this is what I said yesterday, the people that are going to come in with a different style, they don't have the squad to play the style you want. And especially if you're going to give people a permanent manager, it becomes incredibly difficult. And if you're going to just sack one manager that plays a certain football for another manager that plays a certain football that none of us appreciate, that's not going to work either. I'm loath to admit it because I wanted Thomas Frank to go, but I genuinely think that the better solution would have been just to have backed Thomas Frank with some loans in the January window. And I said it in December. I said the January window is going to be a disappointment for everybody. It was going to be a disappointment, but loans were the right way to go, and we didn't do any of it. It's a fucking disgrace. Thank you so much, Jordan. I really appreciate you, mate. Really do, buddy. We're going to probably include that answer in the next in the questions here. But Sav, I do want to push back on that. Not push back, sorry, because I agree with you. Square pegs, square holes, right? It sounds like an easy answer. It sounds like a political kind of speech, right? Build back better. You know, this time we mean different. Change for good. It sounds like it's a political slogan that can win people over, but the specifics of what that looks like, for me, are a little bit more difficult. It's the same with the culture word. Fixing the culture, sure, that's going to help. What does that look like? With regards to square pegs and square holes, Saba, I understand that what you mean about the midfielders, it's easier, Polina and Gallagher. I completely agree. But how do you put a square peg in a square hole at the right wing? How do you do it on the left-back situation?
Sure, but again, it's not just about the one game. It's about, if you go back to the settled formation, there might be a couple of games where you've got injuries and you don't have an out-and-out right winger or a left-back, right? You might, but you've got two people out of position. For example, you might have Mawani that goes to the right wing to cover, or Van der Ven who goes to left-back to cover. But you get the players settled in that formation for the rest of the season, so that when you get Kudus back, he just slots in and everyone knows what Tudor's done is nothing, right?
Yeah, I agree.
He's gone 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-1-2, 4-3-2-1, 3-4-3, 3-5-2. And the problem is no one's getting any kind of, there's no partnerships being built. So, for example, let's say Kudus makes the game, just for humour me, Sean, right? Kudus makes the game against Sunderland. If the answer is Porro and Kudus, right? Play Porro and Kudus on the right-hand side. Let them stay there every game, once a week for the rest of the season. Let them build that partnership, right? If the answer on the left-hand side is Tel with Udogie, then let them stay there. Forget what we think of them as players. Get them in their position, right? Get Paulinho and Gallagher in that midfield too and say, I want you to protecting that back four. Gallagher, go a little bit if you need to, but otherwise, protect that back four. Give the ball to Tel, give it to Kudus and give it to Xavi Simons and let them go and do the thing you protect. Centre-halves, you two, if it's going to be Van der Ven and Romero, you're my two centre-halves for the rest of the season. Cool. Stay there. You two, I don't want you going into the opposition half. Stay there. Protect the back four. Keep the line. I'm talking about basics like that. And that's what Danny Murphy and Gus Poyet said this morning on TalkSport. Just do the basics properly, defend properly.
So is that what on the screen here? Is that what you're talking about with the front six?
Yeah. Just but leave it like that.
So, but who do you play? Who do you play on the wing back? Do you play Spence over here?
At the moment, I think it all depends. If Udogie is fit, and he should be, right? Like he's now got 3
he looks
weeks.
Fucking dreadful to me, mate. He looks so bad.
Sean, I agree. I've never really rated Udogie though, so I can't talk. But I think we're past the point, Sean, of what we think of the players, right? I think we're past that point now. I think if that is your back four, let's just say it's Porro or Spence, keep that back four, keep the midfield 2, keep the 3, and just say, you're my boys. This is it. For the next 7 games, this is what we're going with, right? This is now no longer about a popularity contest. This isn't about giving everyone a game. This isn't about who everyone likes. Just get the players in, whoever that may be. It could be Gray instead of Gallagher, whatever you want to do. But put your 11, keep it, and let them build some sort of sync in the last 7 games. But this manager, his decisions are baffling. Like every game, they are baffling.
I mean, it's even like for the Forest game, Sean. Someone was in our chat was saying it's 3 at the back, and I'm right behind it, and I was like, I don't think it is 3 at the back.
Yeah, I see people saying
in that chat. Yeah, it's just like I'm really, and I said it. I have no idea what formation we're playing. If I don't know what formation we're playing, looking 30 rows back, right behind the goal, so I can see everything. The players have got no clue.
Why do you have a problem with dropping Micky van der Ven?
No, I don't have a problem with any of them being dropped. None of them have been good enough that you say you can't be dropped. But I will make an exception. Right now, you can't drop Tel, right? Because he is the only left-sided forward, right? If Kudus comes back, you can't drop him. He's the right-sided forward. Xavi Simons, whatever we think of him, Sean, should never be dropped in a squad where Kulu and Maddison are both injured. You've got at centre-half, you can at least
your best
say,
players in their best positions and hope for the best.
Damn right. Get them comfortable. Get them comfortable.
I don't hate this. Right. I think this for me, Micky van der Ven has been a fucking disgrace. An absolute disgrace. I don't rate Romero either. So I don't even care if it's I don't care if it's like it's so weird, but for me, the number 1 name on the defensive team sheet has to be this guy. It has to be Danso. Right. And I don't care if it's Porro or Spence. I don't really care. Right, this guy, I don't really care because I think he's fucking shit. I think he's fallen off a cliff. I don't care if it's him, but I think the square peg, square holes argument, that is not a square peg in a square hole. But I actually think that round peg in a square hole is better than that particular square peg in a square hole. Because I think Udogie's been fucking dreadful for so long.
Sure.
So, I'm fine with these two. But you're going to have people that are going to sit there and you're going to have people that are going to sit there, Sava, and say this guy's done fuck all. And this guy here has been our best player, relatively.
Sure. But right now, it's not about that, is it? Right now, it's about what's the best partnership that's going to see you through, right? Right now, like, I think Archie Gray has been doing... I think he's had a few good games. I do think everyone goes massively overboard. I think he's had a few good games. Yeah. But in a battle, I want to see Gallagher there, right? I want to see Paulinho there. And the problem is, we're saying about Gallagher... how many games has Gallagher actually played at central midfield for Tottenham for 90 minutes?
Very few. He's been played out here. He's about there.
I don't even think it's free reign. I genuinely don't think. But again, I'm not precious by who it is. But you've if it's Spence, like you're saying, Sean, if Spence goes to left back for the rest of the season, tell him the obvious. Like, Spence, you are not brilliant going forward on the left. Your job, win it, give it to Tel.
Feed it to Tel. Yeah, feed it to Tel.
Feed it to Tel. Porro, win it, give it to Kudus. Right? Gallagher, Paulinho, win it, give it to Xavi Simons. Richie, drop in, work hard, run the channels. And when you
I
watch
think
Leeds-
that's the best 11 we've got. Sorry,
I agree.
Solanke.
Right, I
Sorry,
agree.
Mickey van der Ven. Sorry, Udogie. You can come off the bench in the 70th minute if you want, but like that for me is the best 11.
Right, there are no
This geezer here though is not going to be fucking fit, is he? I've got to ask you this question. I asked this last night.
Wait a minute.
Sorry,
There are no stupid suggestions for the next coach, so I'm just putting it out there. Sabba's like the head coach, still can do the running around on the training pitch.
Can you imagine if you saw me as manager? I'd wear a gilet. I'd be like Tim Sherwood.
I'd wear skinny jeans where my calves were busting out slightly more than my waistline was. My belly would be overhanging over the top, and my fucking I haven't got calf muscles. I've got fucking bisons. I've got.
Sean, you've seen how I dress to go to the football, so imagine how smart I'd be as manager.
You'd be winning best dressed manager in the fucking league, 100%, mate. This guy dresses for the night that he's not having, let alone the night that he is. He's always prepared for something better to come. You know,
I'm always. Do you know what? I learnt my lesson, Sean. I hate it. I used to go out very casually, and the number of times I'd get a phone call, and it was like, "Do you want to go here?" And I'd be like, "Oh,
yeah.
Now
Do you want to go to Nobu?
Go home.
Shorts. I can't, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Never again.
I'm always ready for a night out, me.
My dad taught me, Sean, dress for the job you want to have, not the job you have. Sava took it one step further. Dress for the night out you might have, not the one that you do.
Damn right. Damn right.
My question, I've got to ask this question, right? I have to ask you this question. This guy, this geezer here, Vicario.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's just gone under the knife yesterday or whenever it was this week for surgery. Is there any chance that he has said, I've been playing injured all season, but I want to be fit to sit on the bench for Italy in the World Cup?
100%. 100%.
Course.
So he has decided that the final 7 games, if there's something goes wrong with the recovery, the final 7 games for his football club that pays his wages are less important than to go and sit on the bench because he's not getting ahead of Donnarumma. That is more important to him than playing 90 minutes for Tottenham Hotspur.
Because he's at another club next season. No matter what happens to us. He's at another club next season, so it doesn't matter, doesn't it? Everybody's talking about,
and that to me is that's the state of the club, right?
Everybody's talking about
Arteta can convince
Vicario
players to walk away from their international duty because the Arsenal cause is more important. Yet Tottenham Hotspur are players who will walk away from their club duty to sit on the bench in the World Cup. Like, that's the culture, is it? Is that the culture that we're talking about?
I think of all the players that people have been talking about, Van der Ven, Romero, for me, Vicario is the number 1 player who I reckon is ready to go. We should have. There was rumours that Milan were coming in for him in January. We should have taken, and I was saying we should just take the money. Just take the money is there, take it. And get somebody else. I don't care who else it is. Get somebody who's, half as fancied by the fan base. He'll be twice the goalkeeper. Yeah, just get rid of him and get somebody else in because he's a bozo, and he is now. I'm absolutely clear. He is now protecting both his summer, but also his move to his next club.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I
don't know how so many clubs in the Premier League seem to manage to find just a good, solid goalkeeper without being amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? Brighton have found Verbruggen, right? Brentford find Keller, like Henderson at Palace. Spurs seem to be the only, we can't just scout properly. We either get it really right or terribly wrong. Just go and get me a solid goalkeeper. It doesn't have to be Peter Schmeichel levels. Just find me a good, solid goalkeeper that we're not talking about every single week for a calamity. That's all I ask. Kelleher at Brentford. What a good, solid goalkeeper. What did he cost them? Was it 25, 30?
25, yeah, 25 million.
Right.
Yeah, he was the one we should have gone. He was the one we should have gone for.
Oh.
Or the Aston Villa goalkeeper. I know he's 36, but you need someone like him. He's a leader. Or fucking Jordan Pickford. I mean, the idea of Jordan Pickford leaving Everton for Tottenham used to be, all Tottenham fans used to be like, don't want Pickford. Now, Pickford would go, I don't want Tottenham. That's the state of the club.
Can I just say something, Sean? So someone in your chat said something very, very funny, which if you look at that Materio at 4 exactly 4 p.m. it said, and we do that and Sava will complain. Isn't this everything that Sava asked for, though? That I want solid, sensible signings. Why would I complain if we signed a solid, sensible goalkeeper? I'm the one that's out here championing Matareo, or however you're saying your name, that I don't believe we can sign the best of the best. I think we need to be sensible. Yeah. I don't, when people say that, I'm not out here complaining that we can't sign Semenyo's. I believe that we.
You know what's interesting though, Sava, is that with regards Vicario, when we first signed Vicario and we didn't sign Raya, everyone was like, "Oh, typical Tottenham. We went the wrong direction." 6 months into that first season, when Vicario was fantastic, everyone was like, "Oh, fuck Raya, we got the right deal." Everyone went in that direction, and then obviously over time, you know, Vicario became what he became, and then Raya became what he became, and then everyone, like the fan base, just have, like you and I and Rain, and everyone else, like people remember what we say because we say the same. Like we're our faces on the camera.
We get called out for it.
The guys in the comments, with all due respect, Matareo, right? I don't know you too. I don't know you at all. Big up to you for joining. I don't know your comments. I don't remember what you said 6 months.
Yeah. And I think this is the point.
There's every single chance that you were, or anybody else that likes to play Monday morning quarterback.
But he's confusing what I'm saying. Like, because he said, yeah, we could play Dragusin and Danso, normal defenders. Hang on, listen to what I'm saying. I didn't just say buy players who aren't good enough for the first team. I'm saying I want sensible, solid players, right? Then when we've got a team and we've got some infrastructure in place, then we might be able to attract better players.
As a sensible player, just out of curiosity.
Because Ben Davies for me was the ultimate squad player. Has been the ultimate squad player.
He's not someone that lets you down. He's not someone that does anything remarkable, but he does do his job. Yeah. I'm not using his. I know, but I'm not using him as an example to undermine your point. I'm just saying, like, yeah, he could be someone that could be considered to be someone that's low risk, right? He's not going to be a maverick. He's not going to let you down. He's limited in his expertise, but he's.
I'm talking the next level above that, Sean. I'm talking the next level above that, right? I'm talking about. By the way, when I've said sensible, solid signings, everyone's sat like I've asked for shit to join the club. I'm talking about if I said to you, Sean, next season Spurs have got Dean Henderson in the goal, right? Just for devil's advocate, are you going to sit here and go, that is shit, Dean Henderson for a season, or are you going to go, yeah, good goalkeeper? Like, he's a good goalkeeper. He's not amazing, but he gets plaudits at Palace.
I won't be impressed if Tottenham signed Dean Henderson. I wouldn't be that.
You wouldn't be.
Not really, no.
I think there is a bit.
I don't think he does anything. I don't think he does anything wrong. Like, I feel like I think he's like Kelleher. I think they just do their job.
I think there is a bit of situational awareness, though. I think there is a bit of, 3 or 4 years ago, we would have been, even 2 years ago, we would have been saying X, Y, Z. Right, we go and get Martinez from Aston Villa.
Yeah, our standards are lowering a little bit.
Yeah, and now we're like, right, do you know what? We need less spectacular, more solid. I don't want someone who's going to be a 6 and an 8. I want someone who's just going to be a 7. I just want someone who's just going to do that 7 every single game, because that's where we are.
Not every position, Rain.
In the defense, I don't want defenders that have the ability to be a world-class defender on their day, but also have the ability to find themselves at right wing. I don't want that. I don't want that, right? I don't want people that Micky van der Ven, who think of themselves as like unbelievably top draw players because they'd fit a certain style of football, when ultimately they have never improved their positional sense. They've never improved their aerial defense. They've never improved their ability to sort of stand up and be counted. Micky van der Ven, he is a luxury type of centre back for a luxury type of team. That's not what we need. That doesn't mean that I want Burnley centre backs because they were bought for a certain situation. But I just want players that are sort of, I don't know, like Jared Brandthwaite for me is a sort of player that I would love to have, because he's not someone that's going to fucking, he's a top draw centre back, but for a team that plays a block that we sort of play. You know,
Sean, the
that's
problem
the
is
sort of deal signing for me.
when I use players as an example, it doesn't necessarily mean I want Spurs to buy that player. I just use them as an
No, yeah,
example.
of course,
I think that's the difference, right?
Yeah,
So I always say, when you look at Everton, right, look at a player like James Tarkowski.
yeah,
right?
perfect example. Yeah.
Not sexy, no frills, hasn't got a cool foreign name, right? Doesn't play for England week in, week out. I bet you there's no Everton fan ever. Tell me if I'm wrong. I bet you there's no Everton fan that ever picks an 11 and doesn't put Tarkowski in there as one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
please, in the chat, I did not say Spurs go and buy James Tarkowski, but I want my defenders to be.
I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that. Yeah, I
No,
wouldn't hate
sure.
that.
But you get my point.
Where you're at, it's like it's where you're at as a team and what you're. But then, if you're going to go and if you're going to go and sign Roberto De Zerbi, then Tarkowski ain't the guy for that system.
Sure.
So, like again, it comes back to like what is the priority in rebuilding the squad? It comes back to the goal, all those things. But like, if you're going to bring me in a certain manager, that's going to be a certain type of player, then a Micky van der Ven's the perfect guy for that sort of system. But if it's a different type of manager, Micky van der Ven is not the sort of player that you want. Romero can hide behind his fucking lunatic behavior in a team that has people on the right back and the centre back next to him that can cover for his lunacy. But he's not that sort of guy. Romero would be exposed all day long in a Burnley system.
Completely agree. Look at Palace.
System.
Look at the defence Palace have built over the last 3 years before Guehi went, right? You look at them. Guehi, Lacroix, Richards, right?
Before that, the guy that was Anderson.
Anderson, exactly,
What
right? That's my
he
point.
Yeah.
You look at Lacroix, right? No one really knew. Anyone who watched German football would know he was Micky van der Ven's partner at Wolfsburg. But Lacroix, good, solid player. Speak to the Palace fans about Lacroix. They love him. Gets on, does his job, gets linked to no big clubs. But you know what? He's there and does his job. I want my centre-backs. I'd rather 2 centre-backs that give me 7 out of 10 each week as a partnership than Romero, who's 9 today and 3 tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's all I'm asking for. But you name centre-back, Sean. Most of our fans go, him better than Romero. It's like, no, you're not getting...
I agree with you. But as you progress up the pitch, you don't want a right winger or a left winger that's a 6.5 out of 10 every week.
Absolutely.
You'd rather have a winger that is a 9 out of 10 some weeks and a 4 out of 10 others, right? Because
as long as on the other side you've got a player who can do a 9 or a 4, because then it balances out. Because then it's because
you need flair. You need flair the further up the pitch you go, because the punishment for making mistakes at the top end of the pitch isn't felt the same way it is a goalkeeper. You don't want a goalkeeper that's like that's capable of magic and capable of murder. You don't want that. A goalkeeper, like if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, you lose a goal. If a striker makes 9 mistakes in a game but scores in the 10th and you win the game 1-0, he'll get the man of the match award. So the risk reward around flair increases as you go up the pitch.
Agreed.
So I'm thinking Virgil van Dijk, right? How many times have I seen Virgil van Dijk pick up the ball and carry it up the pitch and take it into that almost? I can't ever remember him doing it. Do you know what he does? He gives it, and then
he scores some corner kicks.
Fair enough. But he gives it and in open play, and then he acts as 2 or 3 centre backs and screens the ball behind the midfield. And really, that's what you want Romero and Van der Ven doing. It's exactly that. Yes, we all loved it when Micky did his the big run, against Man United, etc. We loved it.
Every time he does that, Rain, he gives it up 4 or 5 times, and he gives it up in bad positions. You know, our flair is in the centre back, and it's the wrong balance. Right? We need if you can have maybe one flair player.
Just last point, just quick before we go. Listen, Sam Boy, he's funny. He's a Man United fan, rubs all the Spurs fans up the wrong way. But he's made a great point. Look at Man United, right? Man United have brought in a goalkeeper that hardly anyone knew. He's not sensational.
Semi-lemons. Yeah.
Whenever I watch Summons play for Man U, I never watch him and go, oh my God, you're going to scare me. Or I just go, yeah, good goalkeeper. Like I think the less you're talked about in goal, the better. I truly believe that. The less you're talked about, the better. And Lloris for years and years and years and years was just a solid goalkeeper. We kept him too long. And now we've gone to Vicario, who is either has a magnificent game or he's dreadful. But I've got to go, Sean.
Sometimes in the same game.
We're going to end.
Sometimes in the same game.
Yeah, listen, we're going to end. We're going to end right now. Big up
to.
to.
I'm not sorry, but this is what makes me laugh, Sean. Just look at Jordan 2. I'm not overhyping. Listen to what I said about him. Didn't I do the opposite of overhyping him? Didn't I? I was the opposite of overhyping. I said I watch him and I just go, yeah, you're solid. That overhyping him is me going, oh my God, he's amazing. Honestly, these fans just hear what they want to hear. Hear what they want to hear.
Listen, I've loved the show today. It was only supposed to be an hour, but it ended up being 3 hours. Big up to Simon Bergham for the last one. It says, great show, guys. Come on, you Spurs. What a lovely super chat to finish with. Appreciate everyone. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everyone. Sava, big up to you, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Rain, as always, mate, great to see you, bro. Oh, I love you, man. I love you, Rain. Great to see you.
You get.
Great to see everyone. Listen, guys, I don't think there's anyone else. I've just looked. There's no one else streaming right now, so there's nowhere to send everyone to. Please don't forget to get over to Sava Football Heritage TV. Get on to also Kate and Jimbo, who came on earlier on. Their link is in the title. Please make sure you subscribe to all content creators. Big up to everyone. Thank you to everyone for coming on. We'll see you later on. Maybe I won't do anything. I'll maybe do an upload later, but I think I'm done for the week. And I'll see you on Saturday. Love you, everyone. Cheers, Sava. Cheers, Rain. Cheers, everybody. Bye.